Radio.com is definitely in the building. Want to thank y'all for logging on. Thank y'all for hanging out. Want to get some folks on social media time to chime in. It's your girl, JustPatrice, live on Radio.com. Of course, we got a couple of T's to cross, some I's to dot before we get moving. But want to make sure that you are all in the right place. Yes, we are live with your homegirl. I'm so glad to be here, still having good conversation with y'all, still having great discussion with y'all. Make sure I check 1 2 1 2. I make sure all my audio coming through like it's supposed. Check. I cannot see it this time. Boy, I don't even know. 1 minute is there. It is. Check 1 2. Now I got it live with JustPatrice.radio.com. We are definitely in the building. I need to make sure that all of my stuff was coming on and y'all can hear me. Y'all can see me. I can see the feed now. I'm in the building. It's your girl, JustPatrice.radio.com. I got a special guest in the building today. We got some great conversation. We are going to talk about dealing with, coping with, moving past. Notice I did not say living with chronic pain. You understand what I'm saying? This sister is amazing. She has some dope concepts, ideas, a construct to be able to help people get through, get past, and to understand what that looks like, a life without it. You get what I'm saying? And not just a story from other people or trial and errors, but her own true story. You already know how we get down. Shout out today. I'm on time. Hey, there we go. Hey, Beatrice, how you doing? It's the shirt for me. Hey, live with JustPatrice. Shout out to my baby girl, my cousin, for putting my shirt together. She had given me a while ago. Want to make sure I flossed it today just a little bit. Oh, I still got my blowradio.com cup. If you do not have a blowradio.com cup, that means you probably not have yet made a donation and or attempted to purchase a blowradio.com cup. Let me tell you about this cup, fam. I'm not even kidding. The first night we got them, we was like, oh, these are so dope. They got our names on it. This was so fly. You know what I'm saying? But we was at the blowradio.com, studio doing our blowradio.com thing. Y'all know how we do. It was hanging out. And then all of a sudden, the next morning you get up, you got your cup off to the side of the bed. You like, dang, I left my drink out. Let me just roll over and have me a sippy sip like I did. And listen, the next morning, when I tell you that it was still crispy and ice cold, and it still has some of the ice cubes was down at the bottom of my drink, was a little watered down, but it was still drink, and it was crispy cold, baby. When I tell you this cup comes everywhere. I might not always have drinking. Like today, I got some nice little water. You know what I'm saying? But it's bomb. Like this is that. You know what I'm saying? This is that. Get you one. You know what I'm saying? Go to blowradio.com, inbox Homer, inbox me and be like, how can I get a blowradio.com cup? Look at that. How can I get a cup? You want one? I'm just saying. In addition to that, if you are watching the show, you are probably logged on to social media, which could be Facebook, which is great. So if you are logged on to Facebook and you haven't given the blowradio.com group permission to be able to post your name and stuff, I'm going to be able to call you Facebook user. I don't know why I like saying it, but I do. Hey, Facebook users. Hi. But I would love to be able to say your name, greet you by name, like Nia Bradley is in the building. Shout out to my homegirl, my sis. Nia Bradley is in the building. It's the shirt for me. Hey, now Beatrice is in the building. She is on time today. Glad to have you in the building. Thank you very much. Don't forget to share the video. Invite people to come and hang out and chop it up with us. Invite your friends, your cousins, them to come and have some good conversation today, because we're going to have all the good conversations today. And again, I want to remind you that you can call in. The number is 414-885-4739. That's area code 414-885-4739. The conversation is there, and it's always so much better when I can hear your voices. I can talk with you guys. We can connect and we can build. If you call and I missed your call, don't trip, because guess what? I'm going to see it and I'm going to call you back. Because why not? Because you want to talk. Hey, Tamara, how you doing? Glad to have you joining. So I stopped by, and since we're talking about all the good things, y'all say hey to Chasey Wasey. Chasey Wasey wants to be on the air today. So Chasey Wasey, here you go. Say hi to Chase, everybody. Here you go, Chasey Wasey, good boy. All right, and you had your moment for Spotlight. Good job for you. So yesterday, I stopped over at Sherman Park Grocery, and grabbed a meal from Delicious Bites on deck. Always, so the last couple of days, I know you haven't seen my posts. I want some barbecues, but I'm very particular. I like barbecue brisket, and what lo and behold, not just lo and behold, but lo and behold, they had barbecue brisket. I'm like, Father, did you hear me? Clearly he did. And I got to eat from some of my favorite preparers, Tamira and Corey White. And of course, Drew. You know what I'm saying? I got me some. I spun the wheel and I won strawberry lemonade cookies, which were exciting. It's a delicious, it's a cake cookie. Listen, it's a strawberry cookie and it had lemonade chips in it. Yeah, it was delicious. That's probably why I ain't nothing. I don't have anything to share with y'all to see. But just an FYI, I wanted to touch base again. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up here so y'all can see. I actually went and I talked with the owners of the Sherman Park neighborhood grocery store there, right? And I met with Mr. Mo Wentz and his amazing wife. I think she said her name is it Tashika. There it is. And they were like so kind and so open and so like welcoming, right? So I saw the store. I'm like, that's so nice. I'll have to stop in because I usually swing through and I show love to like just Black owned businesses. So I might not physically be able to go to all the places, but I'll purchase online. I try to support if I see you out somewhere doing some things. And since I happen to be purchasing my Delicious Bites, I'm like, Corey, like, you should go check in the store. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go in the store because show some love. I'll be completely honest. I was so taken aback by how perfectly, beautifully clean this place was. You understand what I'm saying? Like when I say clean, like when you walk into a space, like in your house, you need to do your week cleaning or your weekend cleaning, and you walk in and then all of a sudden you sweep and it feels so fresh in the crib. Like the store felt like super fresh. It smelled good. Everything felt so fresh and crisp. You know what I'm saying? Like coming through, like I wanted to walk through and touch all the things. I know that's not sanitary, so I did not. But that's what I wanted to do. The veggies look fresh. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes you go to a corner store. Not gonna say they are corner stores, but the corner stores, and they have stuff in there for you to have, but they don't look amazing. You get what I'm saying? Like it looks like somebody gave you the fruits and the veggies that fell off the truck and got drugged around that they didn't really get a chance to necessarily rinse off. They just beat the hell out of the fruits and veggies. You get what I'm saying? That's what they did. You understand what I'm saying? And then they had all the audacity to give it to you because they want you to have it. But this did not look like that. I felt like I was at a specialty store. You get what I'm saying? A place that they had purchased fresh everything. Like the colors were vibrant and it could have been a light. And I don't care. It was bomb, great marketing. You know what I'm saying? Because I went in there and I was like, I don't even need nothing, but I'm gonna buy something because it just looks so good. And you're like, you need to buy stuff. I wanted to buy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they had good quality name brand things. The packaging looked good. And it wasn't like the stuff that they just ship off to quote unquote corner stores. I felt like I was in a major grocery store. You know what I'm saying? The service was quality. The facility was amazing. It was dope. You know what I mean? Like seriously, I'm not usually in that neighborhood, but if I'm ever like now I'll be down at the Sherman Phoenix more frequently. I don't have no problem with running up the street. Let me go grab blah 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 whatever. Let me go grab whatever. And I'm gonna be completely honest. There are 1, 2, 3 off top, quote unquote, major grocery stores within, I don't know, a 5-mile radius of that store. Okay. If you can shop at those stores, the way that they look, the way that they smell, the with the poor quality product, and not even consider going to the Sherman Park grocery, baby, you just want to have hot mess in your belly. You just want to have hot mess in your mouth. I'm just keeping it 100. Like it's one of those places that you go in there and be like, should I tell other people that I've been here? Because if they come in here, what they going is gonna place gonna be just the same? It's gonna be amazing every time I go because when sometimes your cousins show up and they unamazing things. They unamazing it. But I can't even imagine. Like, again, the customer service was great. The place felt amazing. Like, I was like, let me buy this. I'm gonna get this. I don't even know what it was. I just wanted to be able to buy something because the stuff felt so fresh in there. You know what I'm saying? Again, so the address is 4315 West Fond du Lac Avenue. Make sure that y'all take some time and get over there. They are definitely community oriented, according to some of their marketing materials here. And absolutely, I felt like it was community oriented. They were greeting the customers as they came in. They made the customers that were in there. I don't know if it's people that they know frequently, but people were coming in like it was the place to go. So you can't deny that. Best quality products and affordable options. Listen. I'll do. I check the prices. I ain't gonna lie. I did. I'm looking because sometimes in smaller businesses we have to charge different rates because I mean when you buy smaller quantities, larger distributors make you pay higher prices because you're purchasing less. You know what I mean? So it's not the business's fault, but baby, these prices were comparable. You understand what I'm saying? So you got good quality products at sensible rates. You dropped it in? Thank you, baby. At sensible rates. How you don't want that? You get what I'm saying? And it says here for you. It says we are working to end food. We are working to end food insecurity and build food sovereignty because our neighbors have sacred values. Listen, if that don't sound like you vested in the community, I don't know what else is. So the experience that I had there literally is this. Like, and I'm not saying that like I didn't know them until just to the moment, but I feel like I want to know them. And this picture right here is accurate, yo. It's accurate. Like McDonald's and don't have this type of accuracy. Burger King don't have this type of accuracy when you talking about photography of their products. They just don't. You know what I mean? And I'm telling you right now, Deidre said, I think it's so great to have a Black-owned grocery store. Listen, and I asked about products because Black-owned grocery store, but do you work with how do you say product providers that of the same background? You know what I mean? Do you have Black-owned products in your store? Like, is that a focus? Is it just a general store? Should people come in and look at it's only going to be Black-owned products in there, or just come in and you're getting good quality products? So just know that you're going to the store to get good quality and not just to find Black-owned, because it's not Black-owned everything, but it's the facility is Black-owned, which is amazing. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll go with that for a jump. But they do have like I think the name of the product is called True, which is a Black-owned laundry detergent. That's in there. And I'm gonna tell you, I went to what is that called? WeShopBlack.com, and I purchased some before I even knew it was in there. And that's some damn good laundry detergent. Like, seriously, it's amazing. It smells good and it works great. Seriously. In addition to that, of course, Delicious Bites is in there as soon as you first walk in. You got them, nice little fresh sweets up front. You know what I mean? Like, it was just a great experience. And if you know me, some of y'all don't know, but I'm not like the typical shopper person. Like, I don't like my, girlfriends go and they want to shop and buy nice girly type things and they want to buy shoes or clothing, whatever. Let me tell you right now, I'm going to admit this publicly. My gosh. First of all, you can always find me in the underwear department, okay? I don't know why we go grocery shops, go to the department store. You can't find me. Just go look, and I don't care what store it is. If it's Macy's, Walmart, Target, it don't matter. I always try to. I don't know why. I don't know if you can never really have too many underwear, so I just try to buy them all. Okay, so that's my thing. And then grocery stores, like all bullshit aside, I will walk up and down every aisle and touch all the things in a store. And their store made me want to walk up and down the aisle and touch everything. So if you haven't been there, just go for the experience. And then of course, while you're there, buy something, damn it. While you're in there, buy something. It's 4315 West Fond du Lac Avenue. I know we think about heart of the city. A lot of people don't want to go and hang out, quote unquote, on Sherman and Fond du Lac because just the community is not always as welcoming as we would like it to be. However, there's some major changes happening in that area. And I'd like to say that just the experience for myself, it wasn't as disconcerting as I would have thought even for myself. However, go support, y'all. We stop in all the strangest of places to get all the strangest of goods. And even if it's not someplace you would go typically, if you live in the neighborhood, stop by. Stop by and show some love. It's right next to oh my gosh. What is the name of the Upstart Kitchen? There it is. It's next to the Upstart Kitchen. Some amazing things happen in the community, and this is just a really dope option. Fresh vegetables, fresh fruits, great frozen selection, and I don't mean that it's off name brand type stuff, top quality things. And okay, I'm enough talking about them, but I'm just saying. Notice that I can go on and on and on because, like, legitimately, it was a dope experience, and I was like, I gotta tell everybody, and they was like, for real? I'm like, yes, I am. So, according to one of the flyers that I have here from them, it says eliminate a food desert and support. Okay. Sherman Park Grocery Store is part of a microeconomic ecosystem, eliminating barriers and ensuring, all neighbors know that they are sacred value. We are receptive to additional entrepreneurs willing to join us at 4315 West Fond du Lac Avenue. What that basically means is if you are an entrepreneur and you have product that you are looking to place inside of a grocery store, talk to them. You understand what I'm saying? Why would you not? Why would you not? Mr. Mo Wentz is right there. Great guy. Go to the website, ShermanParkGrocery.com. That's ShermanParkGrocery.com. Okay. All righty then. Don't forget that if you cross a couple T's, dot some I's, and get all the business in, we are in the building. I just want to take the time again to shout out to, of course, my sponsors. What is Issa said that. She said entrepreneur means I did that for myself. Okay, so I don't do everything by myself, but baby, I get it in. Shout out to JPA Elevated. Let me just show the images real quick so we're on the same page. So all down here. Shout out to JPA Elevated for it's always sponsorship. It's what I do. So of course, my brand, my products. If you are looking for CBD infused products to get you some comfort and also to help relieve some of your stress and anxiety, CBD is an amazing product to do that. If you'd like to know more about CBD, hit me up and I'll talk to you a little bit about it. You can call me at this number here, 414-885-4739. You can send an email to jpaelevated@gmail.com and we can talk about the product itself and whether or not it's a good fit for you, or if you're in need of something additional. And the perfect segue to that is we have Miss Rita Velman on the call today, and she's going to talk with us a little bit about that. So we have topical products at JPA Elevated. They are available at KRS Hair and Wax Studio, available in the River West Co-op, also available in the Fit for You MKE marketplace over on Titonia, if you'd like to know more about that. And then it's also available in service or in use at a variety of service providers. In addition to that, I'd like to thank Calm Wellness Services for all its amazing massage services, which also happens to be one of the businesses that I help to facilitate. So if you're looking for a great massage to help use some of those awesome products, the body butter and the massage oil are actually in use. That's what I use to do my services with. Why not take the massage and elevate it and give you the best possible experience? We're going to ease your stress. We're going to moisturize your skin. We're going to calm you, relax some of those muscles, get rid of some of that stress, some of that tension, and give you some additional comfort. Plus, I got a series of techniques that I use in addition to the products that help to elevate the experience. If you're not sure what that looks like, jump on a website, book your service, and let's look at that. Or you can always just Google it and see what some of our guests have to say. The website is Wellcalm, WELKALM.com. That's WELKALM.com. JustPatriceLM.com. And check this out. Until September 30th, we have an anniversary special going on as I'm currently celebrating my 1 year anniversary. I'm offering 20% off of all services. So if you go to the website and book, that's Welcome, WELKALM, like welcome, but welcome, you and use the coupon code anniversary, you will get 20% off. Hey Lisa, how you doing, Lisa? Glad to have you join the conversation, Lisa. So I am going to cut the corners and get to the business. Shout out to my homeboy D-Rock for being in the building. If you have not yet had the opportunity to go to Tubi and stream, my goodness, you gotta watch it, y'all. It's called Don't Ban Me. Okay. And when you hear him say, "We on Tubi, baby, we all on Tubi." You know what I'm saying? He got a special comedy special. It is an hour special. You don't want to miss it. It's hilarious. And I'm not saying that because he's my client. I'm saying that because it's funny. Like I stopped working and was like, dude, this dude is killing. And we had to go over there and check him out while he's using. Usually, I'm just doing all the background stuff. I was like, no, I need to watch this. And it was that funny and it was that good. Just go to Tubi. Tubi is a free app you can download. Get the app, then go search for "Don't Ban Me," or you can search for D-Rock, which is D hyphen and then Rock, and you can go check that out. Make sure you like it, like the film or like the series, and then not the series, but the special, and then make sure you add it to your favorite events. Okay, so we'll go from there. Hey, Facebook user, sorry, I love it. It was said that hey, Facebook user is in the building. But without further ado, I'd like to bring the sister on deck, and we talk a little bit about what we've come to talk about today. We've been supposedly connecting for 1,000 months now. That's probably an exaggeration, but it's close. It's only a little over 3 years. That's probably accurate, fam. That's what I'm saying. 1,000 months is probably kind of accurate. But you know what I'm saying? 365 of them. We out here 365 days, a couple times. But we here finally with some great opportunity to be able to share with you about an amazing event that she's put together, plus her story, some background about why she chose this particular journey, why spreading the word about overcoming, getting through, dealing with, and being and living beyond chronic pain has been important part of her journey and her message. I'd like to invite you guys to please welcome sister friend Sarita Valman to the call. How are you there?
I am wonderful, and I gotta stop and just say thank you for you. I just got to give you your props from everything that you are doing, and I love it. Like you said, we've been trying to get this together for like a million months, but we're here now, and I'm just honored to be here. To be able to just share space with you.
It's my pleasure, sis. Absolutely, definitely my pleasure. So let's get right into it. So let's talk about why is talking about chronic pain so important to you? Like, what made you decide like this is gonna be the thing that I talk about? We're gonna talk about this. What's that?
Well, it's the unfortunate/fortunate events of my life that actually put me into this world. And, long story short, because we'll go into the story, try to be quick, but I know we got some time today.
Okay.
Unfortunately/fortunately, I was rear-ended by a drunk driver at a stoplight on July 4th, 2016. After that happened, pretty much put me into a world of pain that I was completely unfamiliar with. I was in an area where the speed limit was 25. She was going at least 60. So you can imagine the impact not only on my vehicle, but also my body as well, where I pretty much turned into a science experiment for close to a year. I was going to all different doctors and specialists, basically following the directions of my primary care physician to try to find some relief. And to put things in perspective, the level of pain that I was having was about roughly 8 or 9 on the pain scale. And the type of pain that I was having was going down my right arm into my hand, which I'm right-handed. And then also started going to my upper neck and my back, and then throughout the rest of my body. And the type of pain I was feeling is if for example, your foot's falling asleep and it gets that tingling feeling. Imagine that all over your body plus being on fire, just to put it in perspective. And so during that journey, I eventually got to see an orthopedic surgeon where I was on a wait list for about 6 months for that. And when I went in to see him, he said, hey, I want to go ahead and run some more tests. I started to laugh because I said, that's what you guys do anyways. If you find something great, if you don't, it is what it is. So they did another MRI and CT. And when he came back with the results, he says, you have bone chip spurs going into your nerve in your right shoulder. He said, that's where all your pain is coming from. And so what we're going to go ahead and do is you need to go ahead and have surgery right away, which right away turned into a 4-month wait. So I had to wait 4 more months. And by that point, I was already on about roughly 7 or 8 medications on a daily basis. And I was deteriorating rapidly. So, with him saying you have to get surgery, I went on the wait list, like I mentioned. And I went ahead and I contacted my parents. And my parents live in Florida. And I contacted them for multiple reasons. First one being that I'm an only child. Second being that my mom was a retired orthopedic nurse. So perfect person for me to talk to, saying, hey, Mom, should I do this? Yes or no? And she said, yes, but don't worry about it. I'll come up and take care of you. You'll be fine. So I'm thinking, perfectly fine. I'll go ahead and I will, have the surgery. I'm not worried because, my mom is going to go ahead and take care of me and I'll be fine. Well, unfortunately, 3 weeks prior to my surgery, my mother falls ill. I rushed down there to be with her, and I was with her for her last 3 days before she transitioned. So I lost my mother 3 weeks prior to my surgery. Now, on top of that, I'm still on, like I said before, the 8 or 9 on the pain scale. And the week prior to my mother's transition was my parents' 54th wedding anniversary. So my father completely checked out. I had to basically jump in and I did everything, planned the funeral, the whole 9, came back up here and got my kids, where I have 3 of them. So I brought them down there, did everything, came back up, and then had the surgery. And after I had the surgery, I lost the motor functions in my right hand. So now I'm not only dealing with, the loss of my best friend, but now I have to relearn how to write, brush my teeth, comb my hair, basically everything that you take for granted. And then on top of that, I'm still in pain. Now, my pain did drop down to about a 5 or 6 on the pain scale. But at this point, I still feel like that's unacceptable. It's like I'm going through all these things. I'm doing everything that you're asking me to do. There should be more relief than that. So doctor says to me, well, hey, we got 2 options for you. We can either go ahead and do surgery again, or we can go ahead and put you in a pain management protocol. And so I said to him, I'm like, you have 1 try with surgery, so you're not touching me again. So that's done. That's out the window as an option. I said, I will go ahead and go into pain management protocol. So when they put me in a pain management protocol, for me, it really was just a fancy way of saying, here's your next set of pills, because now they add on an additional 7 medications. And so I'm on 15, 1, 5.
Like, that's 15. I'm like, I'm counting. You said 8. I'm like, that's 15. Woo!
Yes.
Baby.
15 on a daily basis. So upwards of about 30 pills plus a day that I'm taking to try to manage this pain. And as I mentioned before, I was deteriorating, but now it's even more rapidly, to the point where I went to another specialist that looked at me and said, you know what, you need to go ahead and get your paperwork together. Your son has to be your caretaker. Now, I looked at him and I'm like, absolutely not. Like, my son at the time just turned 18, senior in high school, getting ready to leave to go to college to play football. So I'm like, oh, hell no, this is not what we're going to be doing at all. I'm like, I need to figure something else out. And so I went home, and the next day I had a complete mental breakdown. I just was like, I don't know what to do at this point. Even like all these things have happened in such a short period of time that I can't process it at all. So I'm just, crying, praying, meditating, saying, I need some sort of a sign. I need something. And all of a sudden my phone beeps. I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just a message. I'm like, well, no, that's a message. why haven't you researched any of the things that these doctors and specialists are telling you to see if there's any other alternatives that are available? Because at this point, they're constantly medicating you and none of this is working. You're getting worse every single time you see someone, every single time you're getting onto another prescription or another adjustments being made, you're continuing to, get worse. And so I went ahead and just basically dived into the rabbit hole of Google and I started doing research. And I, at least now at this point, had some more information to kind of go off as far as for research wise, because with me being in pain management protocol, I finally received some diagnoses. So I was diagnosed with 5 things. I was diagnosed with chronic pain, degenerative disc disease in my neck, chronic migraines, nerve damage. It's just like, I feel like the list could just basically go on. And also myofascial pain syndrome as well. And so with all those things, basically the prescriptions that I was on was for symptom control. And as I mentioned, the symptoms were getting out of control. So if you're trying to, it's basically the opposite is happening of what they're saying they want to have happen based off of all these medications that I'm on. And so with me going in and just like I said, going into Google, doing the rabbit hole, because I figured somebody has had to have some relief from one of these. So even if I could find just one, I felt like that was better than nothing at all at this point, because I really had to honestly take over the science experiment for myself. And so when I started doing that, I went through diving into my nutrition. I also dived into my diet. And when I say diet, I'm not just talking about the food I'm putting in my mouth. I'm talking about the media I've subscribed to, the people that are around me, the type of energy that, I'm putting off as well too, looking at all those pieces, because that definitely affects you when it comes to the emotional side of things. I also went ahead and dived into my stress management, which I never knew anything about. I just assumed I'm a Black woman in America. And, this is basically, what it is. It is what it is. And I'm like, no, this is not how it's supposed to be. And so I went ahead, looked into breath work, meditation. Also from there too, I went ahead and dived in on making sure I was getting rest and sleep. Because at that point, I really wasn't. I was maybe getting 3 or 4 hours a day tops. And the one thing is, like, when you're going through a healing journey, in order to heal your body, you need to be able to go ahead and get some rest. Because if you're not, your body's not able to heal. So that was another piece. I was like, okay, let me go ahead and make like ergonomic adjustments in my house. Make sure that now I can go ahead. Like I got pillows that are propped up with me. I got certain ways I have things set up to make sure that I'm as comfortable as possible when I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing. Also reiterated movement back into my life, because prior to my accident, I actually worked out 6 days a week. And so one of the things that the orthopedic surgeons mentioned to me, he was like, because of how fit you were at the time of your accident, you really actually should have broken your shoulder. He's like, but because of that, he said you only had the bone tube surgery. So I said, no, it's not an only situation, sir. Like I'm still like, I'm in a lot of pain here. So don't try to downplay what I have going on, with my situation. So I, did that as well too. And then I also worked on the mental healing along to go with the physical as well. Because the thing is that, with, like I mentioned, all these things happen in a short period of time. I mentioned, having this accident, losing my mom. I eventually ended up losing my job. The year prior to that, I actually was divorced, so I had so much happening, like I said before, in a small period of time. Also too, and I can, mention this as well. And I don't even think I mentioned this to you, Patrice, before too, but at the time I was also in a bad relationship. That actually turned into a domestic violence situation as well too.
No, man.
So I had all these things happening at once. And so that was part of that mental healing portion that I really had to work with. And so luckily with me, one positive part of being in the pain management protocol is that I did get to see a therapist. And so I remember the first time I went in to see her, I thought this lady was going to take my kids away from me. Like, that's honestly the first thing that I thought of. Like, I went ahead and I dropped my younger kids off to school. My son was driving, so I don't have to worry about him. And I go into the parking lot and I sit there and I'm waiting for the appointment. And I'm just breaking down crying. And I'm just like, praying and everything. Like, Lord, don't let them take my kids away because they're going to think I'm crazy, because of all these different things that are happening. So I get myself together, put some concealer on, try to make it look like I'm together. I go inside there and I'm talking to her and she looks at me and she says, can I touch you? And I looked at her, I'm like, okay, I don't know where this is going, but okay, I'm gonna let you, So she touched my hand and she said, this is a safe space. You can go ahead and talk to me, and no one's going to take your kids away. Now, as soon as she said that, I lost it. Because number one, I never mentioned any of those things, but she just felt my energy. And she could tell from me coming in here that, I haven't had that opportunity to talk to anyone to really say, hey, these are all the things that are going on. Like, yes, true enough, I have girlfriends and things that I'll talk to, but not someone that really is truly like been in this type of a situation before and be able to go ahead and discuss it. So we worked through, talked through all those things. And so I put all those pieces together, and within 4 months, I was able to get off of all the medications I was on. I was able to drop my pain down to a 0 or 1 on the pain scale. And I also dropped the 50 pounds that I had gained. So then from there, I go back to the doctor, and they look at me and they're like, well, what did you do? And I told them I was, I'm a very honest person, open book. And I said, I did everything you guys didn't talk to me about. I went ahead and controlled the things that were within my control. Basically, in essence, control my controllables. I looked at my lifestyle and said, okay, what adjustments can I make? Because at this point, what you guys were doing was not helping me. It wasn't making anything better for me at all. And by me being able to go ahead and pull these pieces out, I was able to go ahead and, truly work on me and get to where I needed to be and be back in my life again. Because even prior to my accident, I was a football mom. I was used to being, my kids were used to me being there, everything, and being everywhere. And to go from that to them not even being able to touch me was detrimental, because they know I'm that mom, I'm that huggy, kissy mom. Like, you're going to feel me, you're going to know I'm here. And I'm like, no, this is not how things can be. And even my youngest at the time, she's 12 now, but she was 5. And she just was going through too, because she's so used to being up under mommy. She's my shadow. So she's like, I can't even touch you. I can't even do anything. I'm trying to help you, but I don't know how to help you, So to be able to go ahead and turn around now, and now they're able to go ahead and touch me. And even at that point too, even to say, she still asks me sometimes, because, every now and again, I might have like a little, an ache or pain or something, because I might not have, followed through on what I need to do for myself, because I have my own regimen, so to speak, that I do, that if I haven't done it, then I might be a little off. But then at least, now I'm able to go ahead and I know what it is, and I know what I can do to go ahead and put myself back on track again. And so from there, I'm like, okay, well, what can I do with this newfound information? Because I still wasn't able to go ahead and go back to work because of the different diagnoses that I had. I forgot to mention too, fibromyalgia, as well. I think I might have said it or I might not. But those were all the things I was diagnosed with. And my doctor basically said to me, I can't release you to go back to work because you're a liability. We don't know when you're going to have a pain flare. We don't know when anything is going to happen with your body. And so from this, experience, I said, let me go ahead and see what I can do with this information. And so I went ahead and I went back to school, and I got my certifications as far as for being a health and life coach, also transformational coach as well too. I'm also finishing up a trauma certification, finishing up a chronic pain certification as well too. So even though, yes, I, live with it, but just kind of have a little stamp of approval. And then I'm also a Reiki energy healer as well too. And so I really took all those pieces and I'm putting it into my practice as far as for working with my clients. And the big piece that I recognized, during my journey is that I didn't see any providers that look like me or you, but everyone that's sitting in the waiting room waiting looks like me and you. And I'm like, that's a problem, because how are you going to go ahead and try to talk to me about, things that I need to do, but you can't relate to me? I mean, I had situations where I actually had 3 specialists that I had to fire. I had one that I saw. Thank you. I had one that I saw that looked at me and said, you're not in pain. Looked me dead in my face and said, you're not in pain. And I'm like, excuse me? Like, no, there's no way that you can be in that amount of pain. If you're in that much pain, you should be in the hospital right now. And I looked at him and I said, okay, what are you going to do different with me being in a hospital versus what you're doing right now? He couldn't answer that question. So I got up and I walked away. I had another one that looked at me and said, there's no, once again, similar thing, saying it's all in your head. It's not humanly possible for you to be in that much pain. And I looked at him and I said, how can you tell someone that it's in their head, that there's no way that they can be in the pain that they're in? So I said, no, you can't help me. I walked out of that one. But the last one is the best one. And I say that very sarcastically when I say the best one, because this one, he looked at me, and to give a little background, my middle child, I had natural childbirth. and I was up walking around within 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, like I just boop and it was up. I'm like, all right, I'm good, doing what I need to do, breastfeeding the whole nine, everything. So he looks at me and says, oh, I'm looking at your file, and I noticed that you had your middle child natural childbirth. I don't understand how you can be in so much pain right now. And I looked at him and I said, okay, so first of all, you're a man. You will not know what it feels like to have a menstrual cramp, let alone give birth to a child. Not to mention, you are comparing apples to oranges. You know that when you're giving birth, what the end result's going to be, there's going to be a child, whatever the case may be, and then that pain subsides, it stops. Versus here, this is not stopping. This is constantly going. Like maybe this pill might stop for a second, but it's not going to go ahead and it's not going to keep the pain away. And so I told him, I said, no, you cannot help me. And I got up and walked away out of that one. And those are just my own 3 situations. Like I've talked to different people in the chronic pain community that have told me worse stories than that they've gone through.
So hold on just one second. Let me just, I'm trying to run back. I'm trying to keep track of this. I'm familiar with most of the story. I didn't interrupt because I wanted the audience to be able to kind of get a feel of your story. I think that's important for them to understand without me saying, girl, what? I just wanted them to get it off because I'm over here like, let me turn the screen off so don't see my face. Because I'm like, geez. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so first of all, let's not talk just because you had a child. Let's go backwards. Just because you had a child, natural childbirth, first of all, don't mean it didn't hurt.
Right.
In an effort.
Right.
Done and done, though. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean it didn't hurt because she did it. Fam, sometimes you don't even get a chance to get to the epidural. Baby, here. Bam, bam.
Yep.
So ain't no room for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So shut your face, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like just still going backwards, you know what I'm saying? All of these things, like I just don't understand how at any point in time the medical professionals, at least we talking about 30 years ago, 40 years ago, I can see that. We talking, let's just say in the last 20 years.
Right.
Okay. How is it that we still here in the West have no connection to any idea, even just mention of the benefits of Eastern medicine?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How there are other levels to outside of 50, 60 years ago, I could see you standing in, this is not we're gonna do our way. This close to the 22nd century.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, come on, fam. You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be something you are like all of this stuff. How did you work it? All the stuff that y'all didn't tell me to do. I did all the other things, all the other stuff. Well, we're going to spend some time talking a little bit more about what and how and whatever the case may be. I'm gonna let you continue your story. I'm just like, this is just so amazing. Like everything that you've overcome in the short period of time. You all this happened. And like, how long ago was this?
Right.
Like, you've been in 4 months. Wait a minute. I'm like, oh no. That's a lot for one person to endure. And I've been really trying to take the word strong out of relationship when I'm talking to Black women specifically, because fam, it's enough for all of that. I'm a whole regular person. Don't label me strong and expect that I don't need or want, or I'm not having any I don't have any requirements. You know what I'm saying? That's whack, first of all. So I applaud you for your ability to press. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to stand up for you, to speak clearly, use your voice, you know what I'm saying? And understand that, listen, I need something, I'm going to find out what it is. Because what I don't want is ... Right. You know what I mean? For being able to do that. And so just being able to offer the explanation instead of using that S word. So just mind you on that. But please go right ahead, sis.
No,
I see you can beats with your crazy self. Crystal Ship for chiming in. T. Arthur, Steve Big Blue Gladney chiming in. Perkins LM for chiming in. We appreciate y'all. Just stay tuned, right? Sarita has an amazing story she's telling us, and we're gonna kick back in, y'all. Come on, girl. Come on.
Yes, I just actually want to, go back to what you're saying for the strong part, because that was a piece too that really, that word started to bother me. And the thing is, like, as I mentioned, I did lose my mother, during this whole entire period, which that was a hard piece for me just right there on top of everything else that was going on. And I remember when she transitioned, planning the funeral, doing all these different things. And I keep getting all these messages from people saying, "Oh, you're so strong. You're so this, you're so that." And I started to respond back. I said, "Please stop saying that to me." I said, "Please stop." I said, "I've been strong my whole entire life. And where has that gotten me? It's gotten me into this position that I'm in right now because you guys are constantly telling me how strong I am. And I'm thinking I'm losing my mind because of me trying to be strong, quote unquote strong, and not, sharing what's been happening, what's going on in my life." And so we have to really be mindful of the things that we say to people when they're going through something. Not to mention, too, that the connotation of just that word alone, just like you were saying, Patrice, is like, no, we have to stop, with that word. Like, yes, I have the strong tendencies, I can say that, but I don't want to take that as being the load that I need to continue to bear. That's not a bear, not only for myself, but women of color, everything. Like, we are the ones that are the, holding down so much. And to keep on saying and throwing that word around, like, I can't have a moment of weakness. Like, I can't ask for help. I can't look for, other alternatives because that's
Come on, sis. Let's see it right there. Come on.
All these different things. And, I'm a first generation American myself personally. Like, my parents are from the West Indies. So they have that different, roots as far as for, looking at different alternative medicines and things like that as well. Whereas I mentioned, my mother was a nurse, my grandmother was a nurse as well. So I come from a line of, medical practitioners, in the family. And I've gotten to a point now where we have our spirited conversations. We agree to disagree because I'm more on the Eastern side of things, versus the Western side because of my own experiences of what I had happened. And so, I definitely look at other ways of seeing things. I mean, I even had a situation last week, Wednesday, because I've been noticing some changes in my body, which now, because of me going through this whole entire journey, I'm very in tuned. I'm very intuitive. I can sometimes, with other people, I can be talking to them and they'll be telling me something and I'll say, "Hey, you might want to check this or that out. Let me know what you find out when you talk to whoever you're going to." And they'll come back and say to me, like, "How did you know that?" And I'm like, just because based off of, just having that gift and being able to embrace that gift that oftentimes I was told was not a gift, that, all these things, once again, the limited beliefs of people, trying to scare me and try to say that there's something else going on and all these things, being able to really be, able to use these tools. So last week I had to, my doctor wanted me to see a dietitian just because I've been noticing some, like I mentioned, some things going on with my body. How about by the time I was done seeing this person, I actually was, they were actually asking me about what I do and how I do it. It was honestly, she even said, she's like, "I apologize that I was not able to help you, but thank you so much for educating me on alkaline water. Thank you for educating me about an anti-inflammatory diet. Thank you for educating me about being gluten-free and dairy-free and why you're doing the things that you do. I'm proud of you." I appreciate all that, but at the same token, I came to you to get assistance and you're not able to assist me. I'm the one that actually, for my training and education, which was definitely a lot less, so to speak, time-wise than what, she has done for herself. I'm coming out of there basically with nothing. Like, I came out of
what? When you say time-wise, and when it comes to this type of knowledge, in my personal opinion, it's the quality of the knowledge that you have.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's the quality of what you bring to the table. So whether you have been a chronic pain coach for 60 days or 5 years and someone else has been on deck, a medical doctor for 10, 15, all the years, they still studying, practicing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they're called practice. You know what I mean? It's the quality of medicine, quality of information that you bring to the table that makes a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like the difference between understanding that if you whip your egg whites before you fold it into the cake, fam, it's gonna be fluffy. Everybody don't know that right away. Y'all welcome. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? It's just different details like that. You get what I'm saying? And I just wanted to throw that out there because probably a lot of people, not a lot of people, collectively we assume that tenure has value, has a greater value than quality of experience.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And just because you've been there longer, just because you're older, just because you know what I'm saying, you've been around and you might have done it more. That don't mean you retained as much.
Right.
That don't mean the value of the information that you are bringing forth and that you have to offer is less important because less time. I just wanted to throw that out there because some people be like, why are you telling the doctor? How about because the value of the knowledge that she has is enough for her plus.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like she coming to the table with stuff that they didn't know was working. So guess what? Guess how that improves the quality and the value of what she brings to the table. I just think that's important. A lot of people think, well, she only been doing this for how long? It's only been to fam. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't make me do it.
Oh, thank you. And the thing is too, even my doctor, my primary care doctor, he said to me, when I visited him, because I said, hey, I only come here if I feel something ain't right. So I'm coming to you because I want you to test this, and this. Because I come in and say, hey, these are different tests I need to have done because this is what I'm recognizing. This is what I'm noticing. Just coming in with that information, which he appreciates that. But then he turned around, he said to me, you know what? I want to tell you how proud I am of you. He's like, I follow you on all your social media. He said, yeah, I don't comment. He's like, because I'm not trying to be a creep or anything like that. He's like, but I'm just, I'm watching your journey. I'm watching everything you're doing. He's like, I know you never said anything disparaging about me, which I appreciate because, I was on your side and everything as well, too. But he said, based off of your journey, he's like, it really made me change the way that I go about practicing medicine.
Good.
He said about the way that I prescribe medications because he said, I only prescribed 3 of the 15, but still, he's like, you should have never been that far. You should have never been on that many, medications. And he was like, thank you for, sharing, allowing me to be here, but also too for what you're doing because he's like, what you're doing is huge. And it's
right. This is the power of self-advocacy, y'all. Mm-hmm. You understand that? Like people tell you, know your body. You get what I'm saying? And don't just accept what someone is telling you. Like don't accept there's nothing we can do. Don't accept because there's something that can be done. If something caused it, there's a way to undo some of the things. You know what I'm saying? Or to change or reroute. We're talking about synaptics. You know what I'm saying? The way energy is routed through the body.
Yep.
It's a way to move these things. You know, but baby, look, we can go through these. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't understand. Like I use when I come and my clients come in, we talk about Reiki. I use a light stick, and so I show them what it looks like to see where the energy travels, flowing, whatever the case may be. Rerouting that, like your body is a conductor for all of these things. Let's figure out all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, so what was your first step in? This is what needs to be done, or this is a better option. I know it's a lot of trial and error. Yeah. And you get some relief. What was your first step?
My first step really was looking at my nutrition, just taking a peek at it because I already was, doing pretty well with my eating, but I recognized that because of me not being able to move like I wanted to, DoorDash became a good friend of mine. That I was going ahead and having all the stuff, ordered and brought into my house and everything. And I started recognizing like, hey, when you're eating this, your body feels this way, really just doing a lot of observation and just, kind of testing myself out. So then when I started doing that, I started looking at, okay, well, what do people that are like having fibromyalgia, for example, what have they done that has helped them to, alleviate some of the symptoms? And every time I'm looking, like the top 3 things that kept coming out was like, cut gluten out your diet, cut dairy out your diet. Look at being more, plant-based. If you are going to eat meats, make sure that it's organic. If it's grass-fed, I already had stopped eating beef at that point. Very rarely was eating pork, so I kind of pretty much for the most part, I cut that out. I was still doing, turkey and then also chicken, which both of those are organic. And then I also do, fish as well. So like I'll look at salmon, sea bass, kind of looking at more of the omega-3 fatty acid foods as far as for helping my body out. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and slowly start weaning other things out of my diet and bringing these things in. And then also water too. Because I recognize like, even for example, sugar can do a number on your body as well. And I was definitely having a lot of sugar. I was having a lot of, different fried foods. And even with my body too, I had already recognized that when I eat something that's fried, it comes right out on my face. It will look like I will have to like wipe my whole face off because you just see my face just get super oily and greasy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, it's because I had them chicken wings from, we're not going to name, but, just some places I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need to be eating this stuff, anymore. And also even too, just looking at alcohol. I'm going to just call it as it is. I had a moment prior to my accident where between the time my divorce and meeting this trash dude, I was really I was having issues with, how to handle my emotions and things of that nature, where my dependency turned into alcohol, where I was drinking a lot of liquor. And I was like, okay, because now I'm on these medications, I basically, had cut that basically on, almost all the way down and out because I'm on all these things. But then, recognizing that too, alcohol also causes inflammation in the body, just like these other things, like processed foods causes inflammation in the body, gluten, dairy. So all those things I was mentioning. And so that's the reason why I really pulled back and pulled it out. And I was at that point where I'm like, okay, if I don't do this, I don't know what else is going to be, because I already was dealing with, severe depression, anxiety, and I also was dealing with suicidal thoughts as well too. And so I said, okay, for me researching these things too, it really came into play of me being like for me to survive, for me to live. I was like, that was my motivation, for me to go ahead and do these things also to my kids. Like they already just lost their grandmother. I'm like, I don't want them to lose their mother as well. It's like, I don't know what else they're going to do because they're already suffering from this. I'm trying to deal with this and trying to, work through it as well too. And then on top of that, I still have my whole life ahead of me. I felt like with me just recently being divorced, I'm like, okay, I got my whole all right, I'm back in the game. I got to go ahead and I got to get my life together and do, just basically create the life that I want and I deserve. And at this point, I'm like,
let me ask you this, sis. Because, like all jokes aside, and I know some people's going to be a little edgy about what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. We always talk about, oh, I need to lose this weight, or I'm hurting, but, you know what I'm saying? And it's a but for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? How we have to be willing to make these sacrifices, whatever. What triggered you, or what encouraged you is a better word, I guess, whatever, or what made you bear down and like, you know what, I need to do this, I'm willing to do this, because collectively, folks are scared to make these types of changes, and they think that it's gonna ruin something, or they're gonna miss something, or whatever it is, whatever the reason why we don't make these changes or we don't make these sacrifices. You know what I'm saying? For the quote unquote better. And I say quote unquote because they don't know that it's for the better. What if it don't work for them? What if, the what ifs, whatever? Right. What would you say to somebody who's dealing with that part of this change?
First part is, getting rid of the limited beliefs. Because oftentimes, like all these different things that you're kind of hearing people saying to you, those are actually not your voice. Anytime that you're saying, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that because of X, Y, Z, it's because someone else was not able to do it. And because they weren't able to do it, they're basically projecting their insecurities and things like that onto you. And so there's so many different things that have happened, even in my life, that I had those voices and I had to sit there and be like, wait a minute, that's not me. That's this person. That's that person. Now I have to go ahead and really decipher, okay, what do I want for me? What do I want to have my life look like? Because evidently for me, I'm a Scorpio, so I'm gonna keep it real. I've dealt with the dark and the light my whole entire life. Okay, that ain't nothing. That's nothing new for me. But the thing is, now I'm like, okay, I really feel like I knew I had a purpose, and I know I have actually multiple purposes. I just wasn't sure what this was, and I feel like this was kind of helping me to decipher. Okay, this is now what my one of my purposes truly is to be able to go ahead and help other people. I'm a firm believer. I had to crawl in order for other people to walk and run with this whole entire situation. And I'm still going through it, to be honest. And so to be able to go ahead and really look at those pieces, I turned into I removed but, I put and in instead. That's one of the biggest things that really helped me, as far as for moving forward. Also, to just the way that I talk to myself in my head. Like even, for example, this morning, I was running to the ATM because I was about to say time machine to say how old I am. I was running to the ATM. I was running to the ATM to grab.
Well, I still say time machine too.
Right. I had to go get some work done on my vehicle. And there was a guy that was at the ATM before me. He accidentally forgot his receipt. I just kept on going. I just left his receipt sitting there. And he's like, excuse me, miss. He's like, I'll leave my receipt. I said, yes, you did. I said, here you go. I said, I didn't look at it. I just took it and I was talked to him. I said, here you go. He's like, oh, I'm broke anyways. I said, I said, no, you're not. I said, you're in between blessings right now. I need you to remember that. And he stopped. He was like, thank you, sister. He's like, because I couldn't even see it. He's like, and that's all I needed to hear for today. You have a wonderful, blessed day. And it's just those things like that, just those momentary pieces. And so I often say there's a power in the pause.
Come on now.
Pause before you go ahead and react. Pause before you go ahead and just say something, just to kind of take in what someone is saying to you. Because oftentimes we're so quick, like if a person says, hey, how you doing? Or like, you have a good day, or, whatever the case may be. Or for example, somebody checked you out, at the store or whatever. And they'll tell you, you go ahead and have a nice day, or you enjoy your day. And you're like, okay, you too. But did you really hear them say that to you? It didn't register because you're just so used to being in the fast-paced world that you're not taking that moment just to be with self and just to kind of say, hey, what do I need? What pieces are going to go ahead and help me? And I went through a long period of time of being like, you know what? I was a people pleaser. I was making sure everybody else was good before myself. And by me doing that, that also put me into the position of where I was at as well, too, because I stopped taking care of me. I didn't know who I was. And so there were so many pieces that really ended up happening at one time for me. Like I had so many light bulb moments. I thought that We Energies was going to try to charge me money. Okay. Like I'm over here, like just all these things that's happening all the time at once. I'm like, okay, like I'm catching it, and I'm trying to sit down with it. I'm trying to hold on to it and just recognize, okay, number one, yes, I was a teenage mom, and that's okay. I had all these people tell me I ain't gonna be. Can I cuss? Look, well, I don't know if I can cuss or not. I don't want to cuss or not. I'm like, telling me I'm not gonna be this. I'm not gonna be that. I had those pieces.
You can say whatever you want to say on here.
Okay, thank you. I had people tell me I ain't gonna be shit. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real just like that because you're a teenage mom. You're not gonna be able to do these different things. Also, too, I was in a marriage that did not work, and we were together, for a very long time, and we should have not been together. And so during that time frame, we were basically projecting our insecurities, our traumas and things on each other and not knowing how to process those different pieces. So then having to take that step back again. So held on to that. So that's more emotional stuff that I'm holding on to. Not talking up for myself, holding on to that piece, as well too. Not having a voice, not knowing who I am. Then I get into this trash relationship with this person actually was in the car accident with me. Did not sustain a lick of injuries. I sustained it all. This person turned around and looked at me and said that you just don't want to go to work. That's why you're here at the house. You sitting your fat ass on the couch over here, not doing anything and saying that you're, in so much pain. You used to cook, you used to do this and this. You're not doing any of those things anymore. This house is going to hell. And I'm looking like, sir, I've just lost my mother. I just had all these things are happening. And you're looking at me like I'm the trash. When it's like, you're the trash, sir. Like, and then
that's awful.
It was an awful situation. So like when I say I had all these different pieces happening, it really was just honestly that last glimmer of hope that I had where I said, you know what, there's gotta be something. And what ended up actually happening, and I will tell you this part. So after I had my surgery, I was high off life. Okay. And I shouldn't say life, I was high off medications. They had me on morphine, Percocets, and hydrocodone all at the same time. Okay.
That's dangerous as hell.
Yes.
That's dangerous.
Yes. So during that time frame, I woke up in the morning. It was 7:00 in the morning. Woke up to take my medication. I'm gonna call him Trash Dude because that's just what we're gonna call him. Trash Dude was, getting ready to go to work, and he said, "Okay, I'll be back either for lunch or for dinner." And I said, "That's fine. I'll see you when you get back." I lay down. I'm having all these hallucinations and things like this happen.
Facts, mad hallucinations.
Yes, plenty of them. But the one that really got me was my mother was in my kitchen here washing dishes. My mother was a person that was like, when you go to bed at night, don't leave no dishes in the sink because you don't know how you're going to feel the next day. And if you don't feel like it, you don't have to worry about it because it's not there. So that was her philosophy. So I'm standing at the top of my stairs up here and I'm looking down and I'm seeing my mother, washing the dishes. And I start talking to her. I said, Mama, because she gave me the mama look, the mama look like you knew better than I, you shouldn't have did this look. But, no words were coming out. She's just looking at me. So I'm talking to her and I'm like, I know I should have washed the dishes. I'm sorry. I know I'm supposed to be going to have the surgery and everything. And I know you're going to help me. Like I'm literally having this whole entire conversation with her. She's not talking, but she's just looking at me as I'm having this conversation. And all of a sudden I slowly start to pull out of it. And I recognized that now he's home and he's talking to me. And he was like, hey, like, you okay? You talking in your sleep. Like, what's going on? What's happening? And I said, well, wait a minute. I'm like, is it lunchtime? I said, what time is it? He was like, it's 7:00 at night. I slept for 12 hours, did not move, did not get up, hallucinating the whole entire day. So then I pop up, mind you, I'm still bandaged up and everything, but I pop up and I'd run out the room to the top of my stairs to look. Because like I said, it felt so real that my mother was there. And I looked, I didn't see her there. I saw the dishes still in the sink. But then I looked the other way. Here's where I have my mantle, because my mother was cremated. So I have her, the small urn, my dad has the big one. So I looked and saw the urn right there. And I looked and I just sat down, I just broke down. And that was a sign to me that, okay, this stuff is not working. Your mother came to tell you that you got to get off of this shit. This is not going to help you. This is making things worse for you. And I remember her saying to me prior, to her even getting sick, she was like, be careful on how they are medicating you, because they like to medicate people, but especially Black women. So don't let them do this to you. And so that was her coming back telling me, no, Sarita, this is not your way. There's another way that you can do this. I can't tell you what that is. You're going to have to find that out on your own. But this is something that you need to take serious for real. And that was really one of those other signs for me, because it was all these things were kind of like, coming together. And initially I was ignoring some of them, not gonna lie. Like I had one situation where I went to pick up a prescription from Chuck, which I knew the pharmacist by first name basis. I'm like, hey, Chuck, how you doing? I'm coming to get my stuff. We talk, and everything. And he says, Sarita, hold up. I can't fill this prescription. Come to the side. I want to talk to you. I'm thinking it's an insurance issue. Like maybe, okay, I'm getting something too quick or whatever the case may be because of the time frame, because I just wanted to be on top of things and make sure I had all my stuff. And so that's why I said, oh, is it, I said, is it something with the insurance or whatever? He's like, no. He's like, Sarita, if I fill this prescription, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, excuse me? He was like, the drug interaction. He's like, whoever prescribed this to you did not look at your file and saw what different medication that you're on. If you would have took this, you would have died. I said,
oh my
thank
God,
you for doing your job. I appreciate that. But then also too, that's truly letting you know the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, because I was going to all these doctors in the same medical system. So you can't tell me that you're not able to go ahead and pull up a chart.
You absolutely can see all of that stuff. And I'm glad the pharmacist was looking like absolutely not.
Yeah.
Woo.
So yes, I mean, there's so many instances that I am not, I was not supposed to be here, that there's a higher being. The Most High was like, oh no, I'm gonna put you here because you need to have this testimony, because I need you hard-headed. So you clearly need to learn something this way. This is the way you learn. But I want you to know that, no, I'm putting you here and I'm going to hold on to you during this situation. But now when I take my hands off, I want to see what you've learned, because as the saying goes, the teacher is always quiet during the test. And that's really what it was, is that I had to go ahead and have those different tests and things happen. And now it's put me to where I'm at right now. So, I mean, it's so, when you ask that question to me, it's like there's so many pieces that really came into it to bring it together, to bring it full circle, so to speak, to put me to where I'm at right now. Because like I said, the biggest piece for me is like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like from all these different things. I can even go back to teenage years. I was shot at before, okay? Like back when, so things like that where it's like, okay, I shouldn't have been there from that. This car accident was actually my 4th car accident. But every time I was in a car accident, I was hit by people. So that's another piece right there too, where it's like, okay, you hard-headed, I'm putting you, like you having these different things happening to you, you not paying attention to what's going on. So now this time I have to go ahead and
let me go on it. Let me help you get it together real quick.
Exactly. Exactly. He's like, nope, now you got it. It's like, okay, now I got it. Now I know I need to go ahead and make the moves that I need to make. And so that's the thing I, often say all the time, the universe has always bending in my favor, and I'm always, divinely guided and protected. Those are the things that I say every day, and I'm put here because I'm supposed to be helping other people recognize, number one, getting back to yourself, getting back to your own intuition, being able to go ahead and listen to your body. Oftentimes just in our society where we're at right now, we are very good at making sure that we can kind of herd people and put them into where we want them to go and where we want them to be and put them in their boxes and making sure they don't know what type of gifts and talents and role that they have in the world. Right. And when you're not able to go ahead and pay attention to those things, that's what takes you off track. And when you have issues with mind, body, and spirit, that's another thing that happens too, where then, you start to go off track. And even like I was mentioning about the emotional pieces and things like that too, if you have not released or dealt with any of your traumas, they manifest in your body and also come out as physical pain as well too. And there's different emotions that are tied to different parts of the body as well. And so if you have different things that are going on, like depending upon what part of your body, for example, if you have like a lot of upper neck and back issues, what burdens have you not released? What are you holding on to? So, I mean, there's so many things that, you have to look at. So that's why I say when it comes to pain, alone, it's not a one size fits all solution. It's something that you really have to truly look at lifestyle, and you have to look at different modalities too. Because I often say, if I'm good at what I'm doing, you're not going to come back to me. That's honestly my goal, is like, I want to be able to help you to be sustainable. And now you can go ahead and move forward. Give or take, there might be some things that might pop up through life. Then you're like, okay, Sarita, this happened. I need help. Okay, let's sit down. Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on. Let's decipher. Let's readjust your plan. And then let's go ahead and let's move forward. But that's really my goal, is for you to truly know what works best for your body, because no one's body is the same.
Right. So, okay. So September is National Pain Awareness Month. Is that what that is?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
So, like, so it's an awareness month for like all the things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But National Pain Awareness Month, just bringing, like, I can't even imagine, like, let's just say 50 years ago, because we just go back, whatever, before we were bringing focus to certain body awarenesses.
Right.
Okay. It's of course it's national, that this is like your zone, this your passion, this your thing. It's like, yep, that's me. This is what we rocking in. And with September being that or whatever, and you have an event, a community resource fair that is coming up, and we're going to continue your story, but I want to touch on this, and then we'll come back, and then I can touch on it again. Mm-hmm. So what made you put together a resource fair? It says presented by I Am Chronically Resilient.
Yes, so that is my business. And the reason why is because I recognize that there's so many pieces that affect pain. And often, like I said before, people don't recognize that part of it. Like, if you don't have sustainable housing, that's going to be an issue. If you don't have food, quality food to eat, that's an issue. If your mental health is not where it needs to be at, that's an issue. If you have addictions, that's issues. Like, there's all these different pieces that are coming into play that if they're not, looked at, they're going to end up affecting you in the long run. And so my thing is making sure that you have the different pieces available to you that can go ahead and assist, that can help you. Because like I said before, it's not a one size fits all solution. There's different pieces that you have to truly look at within your life to make sure that you're okay. So then that way you can go ahead and move forward. And then also too, going back to like talking about the nutrition side of things as well, making sure that you know what types of foods that you should be eating, for your body as well. Different things that can go ahead and, cut down on the inflammation in your body, because the one thing is that inflammation is actually a piece that actually causes pain. And that's a part too that, we're not taught in school how to eat for our bodies. We are taught this whack ass pyramid that is not really real, that's not showing you the different pieces that you should actually be eating for your body. Like,
go and call it a whack ass pyramid one more time, because they keep redoing it today. Like, they don't redid it again. Like, clearly something is wrong, fam.
Yeah.
Clearly this ain't right. Now it's upside down pyramid.
Right.
Now I'm like, you know what? Because clearly this is not right. Y'all had it all messed up from the get. Yes. That's terrible.
Yes, because they're
trying to. We are talking about people's livelihood and our existence, and you've had it upside down all this time. But now look at all these people running around here. Look at it. Terrible.
Absolutely. And that's that other piece of it. So it's like, looking at all those things and putting it together and sharing that. And so, with the resource fair, I am still looking for community resources. I do have a few that have already locked in. I'm also, looking for sponsorships, donations as well too. And of course, also vendors. And so when I say holistic vendors, I'm talking about like, massage therapists, things like, as far as like alternative, but also too, if you're a person that sells, different items, for example, if you're selling shirts, if you're selling those different types of things like that as well, that are that have positive messaging and things like that, contact me. I want you to be a vendor there. I want you to be able to go ahead and share your information and share your tools. The other thing too is that I'm in the process of working on a chronic pain self-care subscription box. And I am looking to, look for vendors that are people of color and women as well, too, to be able to go ahead and include their services in this particular box. So this is another way for you to actually come out and still show, what tools and things that you use or what modalities that you work with. So then that way you can go ahead and share that information. I mean, waist speeds, like all those different things like that, which I know it's hard to say that on a flyer. So that's why it's good to be able to go ahead and talk and say, hey, these are the different things that, I'm actually going ahead and looking for to have there to be, to be spotlighted. So then that way you can go ahead and see all these different things in one place. Because oftentimes, just as like I mentioned, I was going to all these different places, all these different times. And it's like, really, when you are not, when you're considered quote unquote ill or sick, you don't have that many usable hours. You don't have that much time that you can really go ahead and use. And oftentimes I remember too, it would take me anywhere between 2 to 3 hours to get ready for a doctor's appointment that I'm in there for 10 to 15 minutes.
Wow.
And that's already taken up basically my, my usable hours for the day. So when I kind of say usable hours, I just mean for like anyone that's in the chronic pain, community, they might call it spoons or different things like that, where they refer to where it's honestly how much time you actually are, I wouldn't necessarily say, I'm going to just say, okay. And I'm saying that in quotes. So I'm doing air quotes as I say, okay. But it's a time where you're like, all right, my pain is on a lower enough scale that yes, I am having pain, but I still can kind of push through and get these things done. But I can only do this for such amount of time that once I hit that threshold, I'm done for the day. That's what I would consider what's called usable hours or spoons. And so you might sometimes see people say, oh, I'm out of spoons today. And it's because they are now basically out of, having that energy to be able to go ahead. And I even use that loosely when I say energy, but being able to go ahead and have that, that fortitude, so to speak, to get things done for the day. So it's so much that, if you can have all the things that you really are looking for in one space, that's huge. Because in that way, now it's like, okay, you know what? I do want to go ahead and look at different things, but it's hard for me to do that because I don't have the usable hours to go to all these different providers or, be able to go ahead and look up all this information. Because I remember too, going to doctors and coming out. Every time I come out, I'm with a stack of paperwork. And you go to the next provider, stack of paperwork, next provider, stack of paperwork. And you're like, okay, I don't know heads from tails on any of this. Where am I supposed to begin at? What am I supposed to look at? What am I supposed to do? And so that's another, piece of it as well.
So you're looking for vendors still? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now the event is that you're hosting for your event is on the 25th, is it?
Correct. So
which is this coming Sunday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, but you still have time and you're still selecting vendors and things like that. So if you guys know any vendors that would be beneficial to this particular event, somebody who has products that are uplifting and motivating and encouraging, products that are focused on wellness, focused on healthy eating, things that could help to cause relaxation,
yes.
To help ease your pain or whatever the case may be, reach out to Sarita. Do you want to do it via email or whatever the case may be? How would you like them to connect with you?
They can do email. They can also DM me. So if you're watching this on Facebook, you can go right to my name. I'm the only Sarita Valmont in the world. So I'm proud to say that right away as soon as you go on there. If you're on Instagram, I am chronically resilient is my Instagram page. You can go right on there and DM me there. Also too, you can go ahead and shoot me an email. I do have it on my flyer. So the thing is, my flyer, actually, if you go on the Facebook, for example, my not my profile picture, but my other, I forgot what the other picture is. That's up there.
Are there tickets required for this event?
No, tickets are not required, and it is free. So you just come in. You would be paying for your other stuff. Now, if you want to purchase stuff from the vendors, you on that one. But I can bring you there. But that's about it. But it's definitely free for you to be able to go ahead and come in. But then there, like I said, the vendors will have of course, the vendor fee, for them selling their items and everything there. But the community resources, they are free. So you don't have to, worry about anything there. You just can come in there, get the information that you need, and then be able to go about the rest of your day.
And people that are interested in sponsorship, should they reach out to you? How?
They can reach out to me via email, or same thing. They can go ahead and shoot me a DM on, Facebook or also on Instagram. My email is goalchasers2020@gmail.com. And that's goal, GOAL. C is in cat, HAS is in Sam, ERS is in Sam, 2020 at gmail.com. That way they can go ahead and let me know, if they're interested in sponsorship or if they want to do a tax deductible donation. I mean, hey, we're towards that time frame already that it's about to be, taxes keep on coming around every time. So if you're trying to go ahead and you're like, hey, I'm looking at my budget and I still have some room that I want to get some tax deductions on, go on ahead and, be worth it to go ahead and, make a donation as well too. Actually, and I was going to do a video about it later. Funky Fresh Spring Rolls has done a donation, towards it as well already. And so I have other places too that are looking at their books and saying, hey, let me go ahead and see what donations I can make towards it as well too. And this is something that it is going to turn into an annual event. This is the first time I'm doing it. And just like you say, Patrice, I'm an entrepreneur. So a lot of this is me. And so I'm trying to get together, but also too, life has been lifing. And I know we've had this conversation as well too. Like, I've had a lot of deaths and things like that happen within a very short period of time that I'm also, working with and processing and, seeing all these things, kind of, reoccurring for me to actually learn if my triggers are really, healed or if they're back to come in for more fun, so to speak. And that's a lot of what has been happening, right now as well too. So I appreciate everyone's, patience, everyone that's like, reaching out saying, hey, what can I do to help? What is it that you need? Because I need that right now. It's like I always appreciate those things. Just like whenever me and you talk, I'm like, okay, what you need? I say all the time, like, how you doing? What you need? So that way, then if it's just a hug, you got the hug. You get whatever it is that you need, from me, because that's the type of person that I am. I want to be able to go ahead and support, as best as I can. And even like this past weekend, I was going to try to come out and do things, but my kids, reminded me like, hey, Ma, we here. We ain't seen you in a minute. You kind of been doing a lot of things. We proud of you, but
Hey, Mom.
And so I ended up spending time with them this weekend, which, at first I was like, ooh, I need to get out. Like I wanted to, pass out fire, do all those different things like that. But I was like, no, my kids need me right now. Let me go ahead and be with them and spend time with them. And then it's Monday, right back at it, going ahead and like letting people know, shooting out the emails, the messages, all those different pieces like that. Just, touch base with people and make sure that they're still, interested, that everyone's signed up, they've, completed their paperwork and all that stuff like that. So that way we can make sure everything is good. And it is going to be at the Wisconsin African American Women's Center Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. So it's not going to be a long, time either. So it's just something like right after you get out, whether you go to church or whatever the case may be on Sunday, you can get in. That way too, I know there's different football games and things going on, so that way you can get in right in that little sweet spot in between games, kind of like time frame.
For sure.
And get your resources that you need.
So when it comes to situations like talking about chronic pain, talking about health and wellness, whatever, do you find that it's more men or more women that are responsive to this type of engagement?
It's very interesting because I noticed that it's a little bit of both. I know that it's also something that's very taboo because, a lot of times people don't want to admit that they're in pain because they equate pain to weakness. And being able to go ahead and say, number one, no, pain is not weakness by any means. Actually, it means that you're very, and I know we're going to use the strong word this time, but in a better context, it actually means that, you're actually able to, I don't want to necessarily say withstand different things, but it's like you've had the tribulations and things, so to speak, that you get it and that you understand it. It's like, don't downplay what's going on with your body. Don't downplay the pain because number one, pain is not normal. And I think we've often been kind of taught that, there's supposed to be some type of pain. Pain, honestly, any type of pain for that matter is not normal. It's really your body's alarm clock trying to tell you that something is not right and that you want to go ahead and pay attention to it. The problem, though, is that oftentimes we snooze it until we can't get out the bed for real. And that's when we're having those problems. Like when people say, my back locked up or all these different things have happened or my sciatic is bothering me. These are all things because there's other emotional pieces that are actually tied towards that. And it's also, lack of self-care, lack of, not actually paying attention to what your body is doing because you're often, you might be the breadwinner in your family. So you're like, okay, I can't actually sit back because I don't have enough time to be off or I can't call in or these different things are happening. But then it's like now you have to really kind of take that step back and be like, okay, I do need to have some sort of a self-care regimen in mind to be able to go ahead and take care of myself, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And us, women, we know that, from the beginning, that that's a hard part. Also, too, with the men, as well. Once again, it's a similar thing where, like, they're the breadwinners, or they're the ones that are trying to take care of things. And they're oftentimes being told, you're not supposed to cry. You're not supposed to share, any kind of weakness or anything like that, which is far from the case. That's not true. It's like, be able to go ahead and share that information. I know with me, I've actually worked with more men than women. And a lot of times,
Really?
yeah, with them.
Like that for me, like that's totally surprising. Because I hear, I know that less men are willing to go to the doctor. And so maybe this is a better alternative for them than feeling invasive, or give them more a safe place to feel vulnerable, so that they can get the things done.
No,
I'm saying that so y'all can go tell y'all cousins, uncles, dads, brothers, sons that there's another alternative to going to the doctor, and that there are safe options. You know what I'm saying? A place for them to go and feel safe and not judged, or how do you say, where we tear down spaces for men to still feel like men, but have these options treated, someone to be heard, so they can be heard. And that's why I was because I'm like, we be running like, girl, and such and such, such and such, and girl, such and such, such. But to hear that you see more men than women, I think that's amazing. I think that is absolutely phenomenal.
No, definitely. And that's that piece, and you hit it right on the head. They feel safe enough to come and talk to me. And I always say all the time, I said, this is a judgment-free, confidential zone. Like, no one is going to know that you work with me unless you've told them. And that's the thing. And I oftentimes, too, when it comes to like my reviews and things like that, which I'm trying to get better at, like, I have tons of reviews, but I just don't post them because it's just me. But we're working on that. But, being able to go and say, hey, like, if you want to go ahead and share your review, okay, I'll just do initials, because I get it. You don't want people to know that you came and worked with me or whatever, and that's fine. That's okay. But I also want you to be able to go ahead and say, hey, this is how this was able to go ahead and work for me. This is how I was able to make this benefit for me. Because, I have clients that have had arthritis, back pain, lupus, MS, anything pretty much that ends, I can say that ends with itis, has inflammation involved with it. So that's another, piece as well, too, that oftentimes we are not really told that. You're not really told what the other, the basis of some of these different diagnoses that you're receiving, what other things you could be looking at as part of your lifestyle that you can actually, make adjustments to, and how to even make those adjustments. So those are all those different pieces that really are not, once again, talked about. And that's where, like, I'm the one that I often say all the time, I said, I love the elephant in the room. I go ahead and give him some peanuts, whatever the elephant need. We go ahead and we have that conversation, and we just get it all out, because it's like, we don't need to, hide behind anything anymore. Like, we are here, you're here. I want you to enjoy your life. I want you to be able to have, the quality of life that you deserve and that you want to have. I want to go ahead and work with you, with that and through that. I have a client right now that has MS, and she was kind of almost like waiting for it to happen, because even though they say it's not a family history, but her mother's had it, her grandmother's had it. So she was just like literally waiting for a diagnosis. And then she finally got the diagnosis and like, okay, I've had this now for 5 years. I'm starting to see some things happen. I'm so glad that I met you. Can you help me work through it? And she's already seeing experiences. We've been working together for about a month. And she's already seeing a lot of change so far, just based off the things that we've tweaked with her lifestyle, and just being able to go ahead and know. And she's like, now I feel better that I can actually be able to still, be a benefit as far as her helping family. Because right now, her sister's getting ready to have a baby, and she wants to help her sister with the baby. And she's like, I'm scared that I'm going to drop the baby. She's like, I'm gonna be honest with you. She's like, I'm scared of these different things. I said, okay, let's go ahead and look at the pieces that we can work on and make sure that you're in a good position to be able to go ahead and help out. But also, too, recognizing when your body is giving you those cues or those signs like, hey, I do need to take a step back. I do need to, focus on a little bit more self-care. Just really, truly having a routine that works for you. Because, before I didn't have a routine, I would get up, go to work, and I wouldn't have like that moment of, doing breath work or journaling or all those different pieces like that I need for myself to be able to go, because those are my forms of self-care. And even being able to go ahead and know what your self-care, language is. That's another piece too. Because oftentimes, we think it's, because trust me, I always need my massager, so I ain't even gonna knock that. But like going to get your pedicures, your nails done, things like that, getting your lashes, your hair done. Okay, yes, that is some self-care. but you have to really start looking at the self-care that focuses on your different senses too, and being able to go
Right.
look at those pieces and saying like, okay, now I need to see what I can do for my mental. I need to see what I can do for my physical. I need to see what I can do for emotional. Looking at all those pieces together is huge.
I just I think it was so just I know when I'm listening to you speaking, just connecting with the possibilities of being able to provide this type of resource. You know what I'm saying, to our listeners, to people that are see it on social media, maybe listening to blowradio.com who aren't on social media, because we have a listenership that are on the internet station. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, when they're not on the Facebooks or not on our YouTube channel, but are listening, like they listen to blowradio.com regularly. If someone wanted to connect with you besides for this particular event, like, do you have an office? Can people visit you? Like, do you make appointments? Like, how if I'm like, I got this thing on myself and it's hurting and I don't even know like what I need. Like, could you help me? Because
Right.
that's how we are. Like,
Yes.
I don't know what it is. It just ain't right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because we don't always know what it is. Well, something is wrong. I feel like so. I'm sure these are the ideas. Like, I'm throwing all these out there. So if you are experiencing any of these concepts, ideas, you've been to your doctor, they don't know what it is.
Right.
You're looking for another alternative. Or you know what the doctors do know what it is, and you don't want to take that stuff no more. And you want something new, or just not new as in brand new, spanking off the shelf, and they just trying something experimental, because these techniques and these traditions have been around for ages.
Yes.
And when I say ages, I mean Sarita didn't go in her backyard and be like, I'm gonna paint the sky this color, and then like what it is, because she tapped into some real good rooted traditions on wellness. You know what I'm saying, that have tried and proven. You know what I'm saying? Plus some ideas on how to piece this together, and her research to put this together, to make that together based on, you know what I'm saying, a need, as opposed to just a general overall umbrella of we all need Tylenol, because no, you don't.
Right. Yeah, you want your liver to work. You don't want to be messing with
You don't ever want to listen. I can't tell you the last time I took one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, I don't do I have, well, I might be taking it because I took one. But I don't thank you. Listen, good looking, because I don't want to have to take one.
Right.
You know, or anything for that matter. You know what I mean? How do people say, how do they reach out for maybe not so much the event? Like, just can you offer me some directive?
Yes, ma'am. So the one thing is, they can definitely, like I said before, they can email me. They also can go ahead and they can call me or send me a text too. My phone number is 262-207-4067. It's also on the flyer as well too. Right now, my website is under construction, and so we're trying to get all that stuff together as well. But then also too, if you do hit me up, via email, I can go ahead and get my scheduling link to you as well too, because I do have a schedule that you can, jump on, where we can either meet, virtually, we can do over the phone, or we can also meet in person if you're in the Milwaukee area. I don't have an office currently, just because I, do everything from home virtually, but I can meet you somewhere. So for example, I've met people at Sherman Phoenix. I've met people at Starbucks. I've had, different, depending upon what's the most comfortable, spot for you. That could be like a centralized location. We can definitely go ahead and do that. I am in the process of looking for an actual.
I am. You said chronically resilient. Is it?
Yep, I am chronically resilient. All one word.
If I talk like this, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
You still hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you can still hear me.
Yeah, because I know how Mercury retrograde is, doing what it does. So
ILIENT, right? Resilient.
Yeah, I am chronically resilient. So yeah, that would be my.
Got that part right.
So yes, because I know there's some people that just are not in the, as my mama used to call it, the book face. That used to crack me up. I'm like, mama, it's Facebook. But she's like, no, I'm not messing with the book face. I'm like, that's not what it's called, but okay. I'm like, that's all right. But not, being on those things. But yeah, you definitely can go ahead and email me. That is perfectly fine. Do so. Also too, I am a wellness consultant. Oh, VAL. That's the only thing. AL. So almond with a V in front for my last name.
Is that right? Did I put that up right? Is that the right number?
The phone number is right, but my last name.
So V is an A and not an E, right? Yep. let me get it, girl. Let me get it together. This is how we do the N and V A. Yeah, that was the only error, right?
Yep, that was the only one, but everything else was fine.
How about it? Because
there you go. So yep, so that's I'm Chronically Resilient would be my Instagram. And then, like I said, the phone number there is perfect. Last name is perfect there as well, too. So you definitely can go ahead and, like I mentioned, you can text me because I can get text messages on there. You can also call me as well, too. And I'm also, a wellness consultant. I do, I work with different businesses, organizations, churches, and schools as far as we're doing like public speaking, lunch and learns, also workshops as well, too. I just did one last week for a company as well, which I'm trying to get back to everyone because they were just like floored by the information I went over with them. Because I just, I shared my story, but then I also weaved into it how I did things as far as for, going through the process. Because the things that I also did that now, help me are also things you can also do for preventative as well, too. So those are all those pieces where, we don't really talk about the preventative stuff because unfortunately we're more reactive versus proactive. And so that's a part where, trying to work on that piece of things as well. Because the thing that I recognize, because I am a big nerd, if you haven't noticed by now, by me doing all this different research and things like that, there was a survey that was done actually in the beginning of 2020 that is actually pre-pandemic, mind you, where they, surveyed the United States and they recognized that for, the businesses, they actually lost around $300 billion due to non-productivity for people that have chronic pain that could not work.
Wow.
And so that's before pandemic. So I can only imagine now how things are because one of the pieces with long COVID is chronic pain. And so now
exactly. 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 I'm like, so it's obviously a thing. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And we can't just blow it all off and blame it on what do you call it? What is it like getting older, right? Or creaking bones, mm-hmm. Or you know what I'm saying? Like seriously, when you hit something or you hurt something, or I'm a firm believer that the body keeps all of the score. Like, and that is a thing. Whatever stresses that you are having emotionally, something that you may have experienced physically that had just resonated and you thought you healed it. Mm-hmm. And some people don't do all the things. Yep. I'm a firm believer in doing all the things. Mm-hmm. We crossing all the T's and dotting all the I's. My leg is going to be wrapped, elevated, mm-hmm. iced, all the things. Because what y'all not finna do is have me out here with one elephant ankle, right, and one regular ankle. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't do the things. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mindful of lymphatics, mindful of, how my body is, there's extra fluid in the body and I need to be if I don't settle the tissue will become comfortable with the having. Listen, yes, you know what I'm saying. And I'm learning massage and the body, the power of, like, I'm all on it. And this, you are all like, you got 100% of my support because everything that you talk about, these are things I talk to my clients about, and I'll be trying to get them to understand. I don't mind massaging you every week, right? Once a month. Come on, you want to see me every other day? Come on, man. Massage serves two purposes, and I always say this: one is for repair, and one is for just relaxation. And if you are constantly in need of repair, then you are not doing the work. Yep, absolutely. That is it. You're supposed to feel good, but if you have to be constantly fixing something, constantly moving something, baby, that tells me all that. I know that I saw you last week and you didn't do nothing I thought you do. Right. Yeah, like at least like the different pieces like that as well. Like you gotta stretch. That's one of those things that even as you age, because even with me, I will say how old I am too, because I have no issue with it. Because a lot of times when I tell people my age, they look at me like, no, you're not. I'm 41 years old. I'll be 42 in November. I have a 23-year-old son. I have a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. A lot of times when I'm out and about, people think that my son is either my man or my brother. And I'm like, no, he's not. I'm like, that is my son. But it's because I've taken care of myself. And I even look back at pictures, right.
Like, I look back at pictures of, when I was going through, when I was having like the flares and different things like that, I could see it in my skin. I could see it in my face. I could see it in my body, and my
Come
body
on
was
now.
breaking down. It's like, now I can see the difference between, I'm a water drinker. You're going to see me with some form of water with me anytime you see me. And people, joke with me, say, you drinking that $40 water. Yes, I am drinking that $40 water. It ain't really $40 for just a bottle. But I'm saying, like, it's like I'm drinking, it's like, because I'm paying attention to those different things. And it's really, truly an investment. And the thing is, you have to be able to go ahead and invest in your, in your health. You're investing in your education. You're investing in all these different things. But the bottom line is that if you don't have your health, you can't enjoy those other things that you're putting investments in. So you're going ahead and getting a degree, but you can't enjoy the degree, or you can't even go to work because your body is broken down because you haven't taken care of your body. Or,
Listen,
your
we
mind.
pay so much for all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we pay stuff that deteriorate, stuff that you can't reuse, stuff that don't give back to you.
Mm-hmm.
We just be wasting a whole lot of dollars. I don't care how much your water is. Is it doing the things that it's supposed to be doing?
Mm-hmm.
What they say? Is it giving what it's supposed to be giving?
And it definitely does.
I mean, it is giving. Do you see the skin though? Do you see her? Do you see
like, there's no makeup on. I'm not. Look.
Come on now. What is it giving? Is worth it. You know what I'm saying? We have to be willing to make the investment in ourselves, in our livelihoods, in our survival. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to look good. Y'all want to be cute, handsome, crispy haircuts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Fresh new hairdos, face full of beat up makeup. You know what I'm saying? All the flashiness of the things, whatever. But you're not being mindful of what you are ingesting as well, like what you put in your body. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be far more invaluable, more important than just what you put on it. You know what I'm saying? We're adorning our body, and it's breaking down on the inside, mentally, physically. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally, we are tearing ourselves down on the inside and just putting all these fashionable adornments on it. So we got a pile of shit with diamonds all over it. Yeah, that's not a good look, y'all.
No, and that's
not a good look. We got to do better. Like, collectively, we just have to do better.
Yes,
we have to do better, and no understanding what your options are. You know what I'm saying? Just starting from the very beginning, and acknowledging something is happening and I don't know what it is.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And then now you can't say, well, I don't know who to, because if you watch this show, you got a friend, a family member, all of us do. A friend, a family member, hell, it may be you. You get up every morning and you roll over and be like, ugh.
Yep.
Constantly. That don't have to be your life.
No.
When you get up out of the bed and you start moving, like, you used to just get up and start moving, and now you like, oh, it don't have to be you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be swollen. You don't have to be achy and full of discomfort, whether it's emotionally or physically. You don't have to have unnecessary fluid stored in your tissues that become comfortable with having fluid stored in the tissues. And when you don't have fluid stored in your tissues, your body freak out.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have disconnected electrical synapses so that when your nerves are on deck, you're like, why are my hands numb? Why do I have these sharp pains? You don't have to experience any of these things.
Right.
You know, there are ways to, and when I say this again, I'm saying on purpose, I don't want you to learn to live with chronic pain. I don't want you to learn to live with it. Just wake up. I just be hurting every day. I'm just getting used to it. Absolutely not.
I just push through. Like,
no more pushing through. No more just dealing. No more settling in that type of pain or discomfort. This sister right here has opportunities for you to do some research, do the study, do the work. You get what I'm saying? That can help you make some changes. You get what I'm saying? Like she said, it'd be some days where she'd be at like a 1. But from a 13 to a 1
is
a win.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the 13 because, baby, I can only imagine. Don't tell me that you don't have no natural childbirth or somebody just suspecting that you can handle anything. I'll fight everybody in here, and I never even had a child.
Right.
I'm like, do you see what happens to your body? When you have a child, like literally everything moves.
Yeah.
Everything. Your hips real, everything. All your
Mhm.
muscles stretch out. Listen, whew,
Yeah.
some days I be thinking to myself, oh, you were so lucky one.
Yeah.
But I think motherhood is the most beautiful thing ever. But I'm just saying, some days I'd be like, I don't know how y'all, whew, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just mad love and mad respect for women who have endured, you know what I'm saying, that journey. And then for people who have become, you know what I'm saying? And I say become because when you get past something, you know what I'm saying? There's people like you be better and I'm perfect. Nobody's perfect. And
No.
sometimes no one is healed 100%, but you are better and you are past some things and you've moved through them. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to pushing through it, like pushing it and carrying it with you.
Yep.
Nobody need all that. Put
Mm-mm.
them shits down.
Right.
Put it down, fam.
Well,
You know
just
what I'm
like
saying?
Erica Badu, bag lady. That's what I think of
Not
all
at
the time.
all.
Bag lady. You gotta
Come
put it
on. Come on, you know what I'm saying? And we start talking, she talking about diet,
down.
what you eat and who you're around. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? What how you your environment. So not just what you ingest, where you interject yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like all these things come into place to make it so that you are setting yourself up for success. You
Yes.
know what I mean? To live as best you can in this life. We're talking about living our best selves, being our best selves. We're not going to be able to enjoy it because we
Mhm.
want to be laid up. I'm gonna tell you right now, what I don't want to be is 70 talking about something with every walk,
Yep.
with every stride. You know what I'm saying? My dad had a double hip replacement. I want to be able to look at him and be like, that was you, fam. Still looking.
Mhm.
Thanks for telling me in advance because I don't want to have that. That don't have to be my life.
Well,
You
yeah.
get what I'm saying? And it's not just about weight. You get what
Mhm.
I'm saying? People automatically assume, like some of my clients, that, well, I know I'm bigger. Girl, let me tell you, but you can still have a strong core. Your
Yeah.
muscles can still be strong. Your body can still hold you. You get what I'm saying? And so it's not just that. Now, mind you, learning these things will help your body to readjust itself. So you may lose weight.
Yep.
You know that there may be some changes in your body that result in weight loss.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But people's frames are different, and everybody bodies require something different. You might
Mhm.
need to have an extra little lump around the hip. You might need that for a reason. We don't know. Let's
Exactly.
find out what that is. Let's let Sister Velman tell you. You know what I'm saying? Get you on a path, help you find and discover what it is that you are looking for, and so you can be your best self. You
No.
know what I mean? What other type of events do you have coming up? Like, so you said you do public speaking, you go and you talk to people and you do programming and planning and things like that or whatever. We know we got the event coming up on the 25th. Like, what else are you involved in?
Right now, I am also part of the Milwaukee County Substance Abuse and Prevention Coalition. So I help out with different events that they have going on. We actually just did one last month for Overdose Awareness Day, was on August 31st. And so I was there as far as for helping them out with that. Pretty much right now, I have like a couple of other ones that are kind of like pending. So that's why I can't say like until the ink is dry, so to speak, as far as we're waiting to find out. So what I normally do is once I know about different events that I'm doing, I go ahead and basically put it on my social media. I am working on, getting my newsletter out and everything as well too. So that way then people can go ahead and, get notifications of different things that are happening as well too. I'm already looking at for May of next year is actually Fibromyalgia Awareness Month. And so I want to be able to go ahead and do an event then too. So pretty much kind of doing something at least every 6 months just to really keep the word out there and keep things out. Also too, like I mentioned before, looking at working with different employers and different churches and things like that as well too in schools. I did have a talk actually at my middle child school, which is at high school at Brookfield Central. I actually spoke at their Black Student Union and actually discussed with them as far as self-care for themselves and also ways that they can go ahead and actually release their emotions, because oftentimes we're talking about the kids and things like that and saying, oh, how bad they are and all these things. But it's like, have we given them the tools that they can use to be able to go ahead and be successful? Like, have we taught them how to be able to have conflict resolution? Have we taught them to be able to go ahead and, know how to release an emotion and also understand that it's okay to have emotions? not thinking that everything is just automatically anger, but then also too looking at how they're being treated as well. So being able to, advocate for yourself, but also, as I've talked about through my story, advocating, but also making sure when you're doing the advocating that you're not coming off in a way that can be, because, we are very passionate as people. And oftentimes, our passion can be, put as anger, which is not true. And so being able to also, expand and explain that and saying like, hey, you know what? I am passionate about what I'm talking about because it is important to me. And don't try to downplay what I'm saying to you because I want to understand what's going on, or just, having the communication skills. Because I'll be honest, when I was younger, I didn't like this person you're seeing right now was not here. I was that person that was, taught, kids should be seen but not heard, all those different pieces like that. Where now, coming forward, the things that I've learned and really taught me, how to actually be able to communicate effectively and being able to go ahead and once again, advocate for self. So just, all those pieces, because a lot of times, a lot of stuff can be avoided just with a simple conversation. I mean, just being able to go ahead and talk. And yes, it's okay for you to be able to express your emotions, but then not being, not attacking another person. Just being able to go ahead and teach those different pieces. So, I mean, there's so much, like I said before, that really comes into play with all of this. And I kind of like to jokingly call myself like the Jill of all trades, or however you want to say it, because it's like, I have different pieces that I work with, but I also am a firm believer that I don't want to know it all. I don't believe in knowing it all. I believe in, being able to go ahead and partner, work with others, making sure that we are able to go ahead and, offer the different tools. Like, for example, I am not a therapist. I don't play one on TV. I don't want to be one, but I definitely know enough to be dangerous where I can say, hey, you know what, if you are, you might need to go ahead and see a therapist, per se, working with me. Because where I'm at as a coach, I work with where you're at right now and moving forward. Versus when you're doing therapy, you're working at things, looking at things from the past and trying to, work through those pieces and then being able to go ahead and move forward. So I oftentimes will work with the person that, if they have a therapist that they're working with, I will talk with the therapist. We get the permission and everything with the love, the hip, and all the behind the scenes stuff. We'll go ahead and we'll just discuss things and we'll see, okay, how can we both go ahead and do the right thing for our client and making sure that they're okay. So really having that partnership and having those bonds. And so I oftentimes, try to, work with other, I don't want to say vendors, but just like other service providers, as well, just that then that way I have a referral network. So I can say, okay, you know what, Patrice, I got this one patient that she needs to have she wants to have a female, massage therapist. This is what's going on with her. Can you assist her? Yay, nay, or indifferent. Then we just kind of go through the line and just kind of see them, because honestly, that's how it really should be. That we can go ahead and be like, you know what, I do have a client that could really use your services. Let me go ahead and refer them over to you. Now it's like, we've done our part. And then we kind of take our hands off because we say, hey, you have to actually do the work. But the flip side of that, though, too, is that you also need to believe that you can heal. And that's a really big piece, is that mental portion, again, because I oftentimes say to people, they'll talk to me like, oh, well, I got this, and, all this thing. I said, okay. I'm like, and then I'll ask them and I'll stop them. I say, okay, but do you believe that you can heal? And that's always that conversation. That's, there's some people that right away, they're like, oh, yeah, definitely. I know I can heal because I've seen this. And okay, cool. Let's come on, let's go. But I have other people like, well, the doctor told me this and then they told me that and all those things. And I'm like, okay. And then I'll say to them, I said, okay, well, what do you believe? And like, oh, because, and I'm like, okay, well, then they'll ask me, like, what do you think? And I'll say, well, I can tell you that I was, bedridden and I was on 15 medications and I was on about 30 pills a day. And I was bedridden and told that I'm not going to be here. But that's also me. That's my story. So now you're the one that's the author of your own story. You're holding the pen. So what do you want to go ahead and do and what do you want to write moving forward? And that's often when it's like, that they have the light bulb moment. Some of them are like, okay. And other ones are like, nah, you too new school for me. Like, I can't, right. And that's fine. It's to each his own. I respect where everyone is at in their journey. And I can tell you, like, for example, my father has chronic pain. My father's 84 years old. He refuses to listen to anything that I say. And I had to really take a step back from that because I was angry. I was upset because I'm like, you have me right here. I'm like, you have a resource. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'm doing it all. Like, I'm making sure your food's good, all these things like that. And then I had to really, be like, you know what? This is your journey. I try to take over your journey for you. because I'm being selfish because I want you to be here as long as possible. But I need
Facts.
to understand too that you're the one that's in control of how you want your life to move forward. So if you decide that this is not what you want to do, okay, my hands are off. Because there's been times where I've gone to the doctor with him and I've talked to his, his physicians and things like that. And I'm asking them all the questions. I'm asking about the different tests. I'm saying, hey, can I see the x-ray? Like I'm going into all those different things. And they're like, are you a doctor? I'm like, no, I'm a chronic pain coach. I said, I do. And they're like, what? And then they look at him. They're like, your daughter's a chronic pain coach and you're not listening to anything that she's saying. She's guiding and directing you on being able to get you better. And you don't.
Girl.
And I'm
girl.
like, yep.
Girl. I ain't gonna say that I got family members that know that I'm a massage therapist and don't listen to not. I'm like, fam, look, okay. Yeah. What you need me to prove to that? I mean, okay. All right.
Yep.
Don't do it then.
Yeah, and then the thing
is,
yeah, and then I have like
okay.
Yep, I was featured. Right. Yeah, it's like I've written a book, as far as for, I was featured in the book last year, the comeback anthology, where I have my my short story of my comeback. And I gave that book to my dad as far as for, taking a look at, because I won an award for it at the end of last year. And I say, here, go ahead and read, take a look at my story. He was like, I don't have time to read that. And I said, okay. I said, fair enough. That's fine. I said, you're retired. You don't do nothing but go from here to there. But I'm like, that's okay. And it's like, and it's those pieces like that where, you have to, it can be hurtful. But at the same time, you also, once again, have to understand that this is where they're at. This has no reflection on me. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just living my life. What I need to do. I'm impacting the ones that need, the assistance. And I oftentimes say to people, because we sometimes get frustrated, with family and things like that. You have to understand that, you're put into your family or you're born into this family for a reason. You don't necessarily have to follow the way that things were, that it is okay for you to go ahead and flip the script. You can go ahead and be like, you know what, this is not yet true enough. This is how things have been, but this is not how they're going to continue. Often, there's a lot of, the quote unquote talking about, breaking generational curses or different things like that. But even just taking a look at all those pieces and just seeing, how do I want my life to be? Like, I'm okay with doing things differently. Like, I know I raised my children different than my parents raised me, and that's okay. I'm seeing that now. I have my children are very, well-mannered. They also can talk for themselves. The middle one I'm still working with because that's teenage angst, so we don't really count that. But, kind of like looking at the other ones, kind of just seeing that. But it's just a matter of, being able to go ahead and see that things can be done differently. And that everything doesn't have to be the same. It's like, we've had these different advancements and things for a reason. And it's like, how are you going to go ahead and use those tools, bottom line.
And I just to hear that, like even for me, like I hear you. So I'm taking that part in or whatever the case may be. I don't want to be more zealous about your journey than you are for your journey. I don't want to. I'm gonna make you do the things that I feel like you need to be. It is your journey, and even no matter how bad we want, no matter what we desire for our friends and our family, our loved ones, whatever the case may be, we still have to respect the fact that it's their journey. You know what I mean? And then we show up and give the information and the love and the support that we can give, and then still, you know what I'm saying, keep moving in that capacity. That's the part where I'll be like, okay. Okay.
Trust me, I know. And I witness it all the time. Like, I think he has a doctor's appointment next week, which is another thing, he doesn't, because he's gotten to a point now where he knows that I'm just like, okay, like, let me know what's going on. And he doesn't want to communicate it to me because he knows he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And so, I'm like, and I tell him all the time, I said, it's your guilt. I said, I ain't got nothing to do with it. I said, that's on you. I said, you know what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
I'm just here.
How supportive are your children on this mission?
They are very supportive. Like my son, he tries to mention anytime that he's out and about, he'll say things to people. Like if they say, oh, I'm noticing this kind of pain or something, like, well, my mom does this. Like, you should probably go check out her Instagram, or, go ahead and see her on Facebook, or she has this going on, or she's doing that, just that way, then you can go ahead and get the additional assistance. Like my middle child, as I mentioned, they're the ones that actually mentioned to the school for me to come up and actually talk during Black History Month. and
Nice.
discuss, what I do. So that was, amazing as well. And then my youngest one's the same thing. She'll be like mentioning stuff at school and everything, and she'll be talking about like the different food that they have, and she'll be like, "Mom, they're trying to feed us this crap," and she'll say to me, she's like, "They're trying to feed us this crap that we should not be eating this." She's like, "I told them that this is not good for your body. That causes inflammation and all this kind of." She just goes,
come on now.
and she's telling them that, and I'm just like, "Yes." I'm like, "So what are you?" She's like, "I'm gonna bring a lunch." She's like, "You know what? I'm not even fooling with them." She's like, "I'm good." And so it's being able to go ahead and, seeing those different pieces and recognize. I mean, it has been, a little different because, I'm divorced. And so, we have joint custody. So, they go to their dad's house, and it's kind of, it used to be a free for all, but now he's starting to recognize, because he had some health issues come up, that now he's having to make the adjustments, because they actually said something to me. My kids mentioned something to me a year ago that they were concerned about their dad's health. And I had that conversation with him, and it was kind of funny because I said, I said, I'm here on behalf of them. And I told him, I said, in full transparency, I said, I could care less what you do, but because they are, they are concerned about you, I said, I'm coming out, as this. I said, you probably should, kind of check into these different things, because they're concerned. And I'm also kind of noticing it too, even in our our interactions, which are limited, I am noticing some things, as well. You should probably look into those. Well, fast forward the week before that, he comes back to me and says, "Hey, remember when you told me I should check, XYZ? You were right. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I told you over a year ago, but you didn't want to hear, what I was saying to you. And that's honestly, and that's okay. But it's like, I'm just the messenger, as far as for them, because the thing is now from me, like I said before, kind of accepting what my gifts and things are. When people are saying different things, I can say to them, hey, check out this, or have you looked into this, or have you considered this, or did this happen to you? Because I was at an event, a pop-up event a couple weeks ago, and a lady was, talking to me, and she's having like some female issues and things. And I asked her, I said, I'm not trying to be in your business or anything like that. I said, but have you had some traumas that occurred?
Right.
I said, in particular, and then I kind of went into what they, I kind of pulled to the side, and I said, was it like this? And she was like, I have. How did you know? And I said, well, because of the different types of pains and things you're saying to me, that's where that type of emotion manifests in that area. And if you're saying that you're having this particular, concern, you would want to address that too. If you're now saying your doctors can't find anything else, that they've removed things and all this stuff like that, and you're still having the same issues, it's now beyond that. You now need to kind of look into the emotional side of that, or the traumatic, the trauma side, and go through the process of that. So, I mean, it's like we said before, there's so many different things that are really, coming into play. But at the end of the day, it's just more or less, being more in tune with yourself and really knowing more about yourself. Like I have now, it's so funny. Like I unlock levels. I said all the time, like I'll be sitting there and like something will happen. I'll be like, you know what? Like I completely forgot about that.
Okay.
Happening now. I need to go ahead and I need to work through that. Because I just got triggered, and I don't know why why do I feel funny when I'm talking to this particular person? And I'm like, because I have the trace of this other person that was in my life before. And I thought that I worked through that. And now I got to go ahead and look at it and be like, I didn't. Just like you said before, like now we have to go ahead and re-examine it and see. Because there's sometimes where you can tell that you work through those triggers. And other times you just got to go ahead and be like, oh, I guess I didn't. Let me go ahead and go back to the drawing board. But at least now I got tools that I can work with this drawing board, and I can go ahead and work my way through it.
Well, I'm thankful that you have rediscovered a very vital tool to help us get through some things. I have some friends who deal with lupus, fibromyalgia, sickle cell. You know what I mean? And these are like some very intensely, how do you say, physically stressful pains. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of people feel like, if I'm labeled with this, and this is what it is, what I mean? And so now there's no relief and there's no comfort available for me, you know what I mean? And here you are saying, hey, that's not the end all be all. No. There are options for you, you know what I'm saying? And we just have to figure out what they are, that with that type of belief. You know what I mean? Like it's that type, like that. I just feel like I'm like, it made me right there in that moment. I just thought of a meme that not a meme, but a little TikTok that I saw. a non-Black person said he had got complimented by a Black woman, and it made him feel invincible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, he's like, man, I'm gonna be amazing. You know what I'm saying? It was something about her words and the energy behind her belief in him. You know, her compliment that made him feel he could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I felt that same energy listening to you today. You know what I'm saying? And I think that people who are, you know, enduring those types of chronic illnesses, whether it's migraine, whether it is just different types of physical and or emotional discomforts that have rested in our bodies. You know what I'm saying? To be able to have someone who have such a beautiful spirit as you and such loving energy, like passionate about it, focused on it, willing to do the work, and not just because it's something that you've been through, because you've been through it and you know that there's something available for someone. Listen, let me help y'all. It don't gotta be like this. You know what I'm saying? The desire to want to see them be free of those types of discomfort. That type of love, you understand what I'm saying? Just pouring out of you. Like I can hear it in the things that you're saying. I can see it in your work. You know what I mean? And I'm just thankful to be able to, you know, use this platform to be able to share it. And not to front people's lives, but I know that there are some people on the live that have commented, that have inboxed me, that are saying, I gotta watch that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Or hey, who is that, Trees? That's why I put your information back up here. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yeah, you need to know her. You know what I'm saying? And I've been trying to tell y'all you need to know her, but now they get to hear you, they get to see you. You know what I'm saying? Like you just radiate this goodness, this genuineness, and I'm so glad that they can, you know what I'm saying, hear you and have this resource. So thank you for doing this work, you know what I'm saying, for you and for others. You know what I'm saying? And like it's motivating. It's very motivating. You know what I mean? Not just from the fact that, you know, finally we finally got together and we got together, but I mean for me, period. You know, it's like somebody really cares that others are, you know, dealing with this and they want to make it better. When I get frustrated and I'm like, you know what? I'm just casting all of the cares to the wind and the city can kick rocks. You know what I'm saying? But you got this beautiful spirited sister that's saying, you know what? Maybe they're just frustrated because of some of the things that they're going through and it's manifesting this way. Maybe the irritations are not just from the experiences that they have, but maybe a combination of foods, and this is how their body is responding to it. You know what I'm saying? Let's say we can go, you know what I'm saying, but let's be more understanding. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily just patient, because we got to have certain standards, whatever. But let's do the work. Let's figure out what it is. And if someone is willing to do the work, to make some changes, to get some transformations in their life, then let's provide them the opportunity to do that. How many vendors do you have already for this Sunday?
So far I have I actually have 2 vendors so far. As far as for the actual community resources, I have 3, and it's counting because I haven't checked my email yet. So I got to go back in and check it to see, because I know people have been messaging me, because this morning, like I said, I was at the auto shop. So I was on my phone like, okay, let me go ahead and send all these messages back out to everybody and just reconnect with them again and just make sure that they're, you know, aware, because I've been, you know, kind of telling everybody. But as soon as I got everything like really truly finalized as far as like the place and everything, I've been putting that bug out for a while. Like, hey, the end of September, like I'm telling you, it's happening. Like I'm figuring it out. And like I said, I almost put my hands up and was like, nope, we're just gonna go ahead and wait till next year. And I'm like, no, I told too many people that I'm gonna be doing this. I said, regardless of, even if it doesn't end up being, you know, as big as I want it to be, that's okay. Because the thing is that it is initially, and I'm learning as I'm going along with this as well too, that I want to go ahead and make sure that people are aware, you know, that this is happening. And so definitely, yep, absolutely. Actually, we do have the Milwaukee Black app, which I am featured on there as well too. But we definitely do need to have something. That's the thing. And that's something I've actually mentioned too, that, you know, oftentimes we're working in silos in the city. And the thing is, you know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And that's that right. Trying to, you know, bring others together and letting them know that, you know, there are plenty of options that are available. But as the saying goes, you don't know what you don't know. So if you can't find out and figure those pieces out, that's when it does get difficult and it does get frustrating. And just like
Right.
you said, it's like, you get to a point where like, okay, well, this person, is upset because of all these different things that are going on. And sometimes it just takes asking that one simple question or saying, why are you mad? Or why you not, maybe not like that, but just saying, what's going on? What's happening? Why, what's upsetting you? Because you can't tell no black person to calm down, because that's like, you might as well just might as well
Come on now, come on.
like, no, we're not gonna calm down. But it's like, okay, what's going on? How can I help you or whatever? What's happening? I think that comes from my old customer service days of being like, hey, what's going on? Let's go ahead and try to diffuse the situation, because it goes back to just having that communication and actually talking to someone that cares. Because you can tell, like you mentioned, it's like you tell I care. I truly live, breathe, eat this. This is my day in and day out. Every day is like it's
Right.
a fight for survival, really. And it's like I'm past the point now where I'm no longer fighting. I'm kind of, had to kind of change my mentality a lot, even going through this as well too, to be like, what? I'm calling in ease. I'm calling in comfort. I deserve to be able to go ahead and have moments of rest. It's okay for me to be like, what? I don't have to always have the armor on. It's okay for me to go ahead and take the armor off and be like, okay, now I'm here, and be comfortable being in these different rooms and being in these different places. Because I know how my energy is. I know how I am as a person. Like, you can't shake me. I've been shaken to the core by a lot of different things. Like, you can't do it no more. Like, I don't talk, you can't really come to me and be like, oh, well, Sarita did this, this, and this. Okay, Ann. Like, I can talk about my past. You cannot bring up something to me where I haven't already talked about it, myself. Like, I'll go ahead and bring different things up, and when people be like, oh, well, the saying goes, I don't look like I don't look like what I've been through. And I'm okay with that, because I had to work hard to get out of what I've been through to get to the point.
Right.
And that's why I don't want others to have to go through those different pieces. But then I can also have the empathy, the sympathy. I got all the fees, to be able to go ahead and say, hey, you know what? I get it. I understand. Maybe I didn't necessarily go through that particular situation, but I might have had something similar. I might be able to go ahead and offer you some words of encouragement, some things to be able to go ahead and have you kind of change your perspective and look at something a different way. Because oftentimes, we're given like the negative pieces, or we're not giving, the positivity, and being able to go ahead and say, oh, well, you're a product of your environment, all these things like that. It's like, okay, well, what have you done differently? Like, even going back to the whole school situation of me going and talking to my child's school. That morning before that on Facebook, there was a person that made a post saying that these kids are bad, just saying all the things like that. And I said, well, and I went on, I said, I'm just curious. I said, well, what have you done? And they're like, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm going to go talk to my child's school tomorrow. I said, I'm talking to kids and seeing what's going on and asking them what's bothering them, what's happening with them. And he was like, oh, I'm just saying, no, you're not saying. You're doing what a lot of other people are doing, that we are all guilty of, saying like, all these things are happening.
Listen, I just said a few minutes ago, listen, I'll be the first one to say, but I also have spent a lot of years in youth development programming. So I know the difference in how this is there's a trend, the transition has happened, but we can't expect to treat, when I say treat, I mean make well.
Yep.
That's what I meant, that when treat in that capacity. Children of 2022 or teenagers of 2022, the same way we did in 19, you know what I'm saying, 12.
Yeah.
Because they've matured in a different capacity.
Yep.
They don't think things, and they don't think in the same way. They don't process stuff the same way. They need something like this, a whole other. When they say it's a new breed, they really do mean it's a new breed. Like chemically, not just, they're a whole different breed.
No, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And then now they're calling them and I don't even like the term, but quote unquote COVID babies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, these children have been exposed to a different kind of virus and in a very young stage, where their bodies were, their immunities weren't as established.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they've been exposed. So we should expect that chemically they're going to be different. You know what I'm saying? Like, just like when polio came around, those kids was exposed differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In just different phases. Like, people, that's how I process all of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, they are going to be different. How do we deal with that?
Right.
What is the next step? What is the next steps? What do we put on? And I just talk about children. I'm talking about how do we deal with
Mm-hmm.
dot. You know what I'm saying? Because we have to deal.
No.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it manifests in your body.
Yep.
Sometimes it manifests, you become depressed. So
Mm-hmm.
psychologically, you can't get up, you can't move, you can't do nothing. You don't want to go nowhere, you don't want to eat nothing, you don't be bothered with nobody. And then there's that facade of healed, or
Mm-hmm.
the facade of well, where you trade one for the other. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? One vice for another.
And don't
And you're
forget
not sleeping
unbothered.
all the time, and now you working,
Mm-hmm.
endlessly. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Also, too,
Or go ahead,
um,
sis.
yeah, I was gonna say, and also too, the being unbothered. Saying
Come
that
on.
like, no, now
Or,
you're
like
actually
nothing matters.
right, because the thing is, in reality, you're actually just you're avoiding your emotions. So
Come
that's
on
really
now.
what it boils down to as well. Too, it's like you can't avoid these different things, and even going back to like talking about the kids, and even the teens and things that are coming into adulthood as well too. They were raised for a world that no longer exists. And that's the other piece that's also trying to recognize that as well
That's
too,
it.
because I say that all the time. Like I'll call my daughter, my youngest one, which is 12. I said, y'all from the microwave generation. And she was like, well, what you mean, mom? I said, y'all think everything's supposed to happen just like this. Like you just snap your fingers. I said, you're not used to having, like, even when I cook dinner, for example, she'd be like it'll be 5 minutes later. She's like, well, it's not done. Baby, I put a whole chicken in the oven. That's not gonna be that's not gonna be done in 5 minutes. Like that's not what this is. I said, you are so used to really thinking that things are gonna be done just really quick.
Pretty much.
That's not how it works. And I have to, kind of break it down. And so then she gets it. But then she still has her moments where she's like, well, mom, I still feel like that you can feel how you're entitled to feel how you feel. Most definitely. But I'm gonna also let you know that this is where things are at right now, and this is where things stand. And like I
Right.
respect your opinion. I respect you coming and talking to me, that you feel comfortable enough to talk to me. One thing, because I know when I was that age, I was told to go sit down and go somewhere. Like I want, we weren't having a conversation, as far as for
Right.
even at that age.
But what I love though, and what the clarity there is, teaching these children, just I hear you, but that don't make you right.
Yep.
I receive you and give you freedom to be expressive in that, but that doesn't mean it's going to change the process.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It does. Okay, you feel some kind of way about it. I understand that. This is still happening though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or I hear you in, let's make some adjustments.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So that we can, but on the back end of it, that still not changing the process.
Right.
Doesn't eliminate consequences, doesn't eliminate the process that there needs to be something done.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to get people to understand when I be like, when I say the Bible say, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they don't mean literally beat the hell out of these kids.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That just means there needs to be some consequence.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And structure to be able, because without any of that, you know what I'm saying? Rods also provide structure, people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm just saying that there has to be something in place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not just a physical assault. You know what I'm saying? There has to be consequence, there has to be discipline, there has to be all these things in place. And if we are removing these because we're letting children have freedom of speech, quote unquote, letting children have,
right,
because we're encouraging expressive-ness. You know what I mean? Which is not a terrible thing. It improves their ability to communicate beyond our ability, because some of y'all don't know how to have a conversation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And learning these things early on helps that one time you become an adult, you can have conversations. You can articulate what you mean and not be overdriven by how you feel.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let's put these things into place so that there is some structure. Our goal is to create productive participants in society.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And come into this place. Come on now, let's go. To be able to get them into this space is a process to do that. That doesn't mean cast all the cares to nothingness. You know what I'm saying? And just because if you feel some kind of way means that I got to fall in line, fam. Parenting is still required.
Yes.
Parenting is still required.
Absolutely.
And we
Absolutely.
got to sit and talk about
And
that
that's
one.
such a big piece there as well too. And it's like, and it oftentimes is kind of scary because it's like, I watch the different generations of people, going into schools and things and kind of seeing who the different parents are and stuff now. And it's definitely concerning. You can definitely see, the different traumas, rearing their heads and coming into play. And as to why, certain kids are, acting certain ways, it's because this stuff that's carrying on that's not being addressed. And being able to go ahead and once again, like I said, having those conversations, but also too holding self accountable. It's like I have to hold myself accountable. Like there's times where I'll do stuff and I'll say stuff to my kids and I'll turn back around and say, you know what? I was wrong. I was dead ass wrong for what I just did to you. And I apologize. I didn't allow you were talking to me and I just cut you clean off because I had to get what I had to say across. And I said, that's not right. Like I've been telling you guys, it's like, it's the same thing. Like if I'm saying something to you, and vice versa. Like I got to go ahead and give you that respect as well too, because you are a human being. You are a person. You came from me. I can't sit here and be disrespectful to you. But then also on the flip side of that too, it's the same thing. If you do it to me, I'm gonna call you out on this one and say, hey, you know what? You just did it. Like, and I'll apologize and I'll say, hey, you know what? And I'll even oftentimes say to them, like, you know what? When I was growing up, this is how, and I would explain to them, I'll tell them the whole story. And say, hey, when I was your age and this is what happened, I said, so I'm not saying that I'm giving this to you as an excuse. I'm just explaining to you as to why I responded the way that I did, because you did trigger me. And so now that I've recognized that that's a trigger, I have to work on that myself. But it doesn't excuse for what you just did.
Right.
So that way, then now there's both sides to that story, and that you're able to go ahead and get it and understand that. And that's a huge piece as well, because often, I remember telling them to be like, no, just it is what it is. And then fast forward, I talk later on as adults and things, and then saying like, oh, well, this happened to you. This is why you responded that way at that time, because you didn't have this happen or this happened to you. But now that I know that, I understand. And so then I even will share that information on my kids too. I'm like, you know what? Well, this is what happened. And then this is how this affected me. And now this is how I don't want this to affect you. I want you to be in a different position. And that's where it comes back again to that whole communication and also that emotional intelligence.
Listen. So as we get ready to close out, I want to know, I'd like for you to take a moment and just if you could give the listeners, the viewers, a dime of advice, what would that look like? And then we'll reiterate your event and things like that.
I'm trying to think of, there's so many different pieces I can go, but I will say making sure that you make time for yourself. I think that is such a critical piece that oftentimes, and even with my own self kind of reflecting back on things, being okay with silence, being okay with just spending some time with yourself, getting to know yourself, getting to know what your likes and dislikes are. Oftentimes we have done things in our past that have put us on the trajectory that we're at right now, where we didn't know that decision that happened back then is now affecting things that have happened now. And there's oftentimes where you kind of hear that quote, which which is segue for me. I probably need to finally put my reel out that I made, but I made a reel talking about, how people are often saying that the devil's always busy. And I was like, well, let's look at the flip side of that. Is it the devil's always busy, or is it that you're now being held accountable for the actions that you did not take to then be able to carry out with what you were supposed to do that now is falling back on you? And it all goes back to, once again, taking a moment with self and doing that self-reflection and being able to really see those different pieces. Because once you're able to go ahead and do that, that can put so many different, put puzzle pieces together for you. So that's why, all falls into, just take a moment and just sit with self, whether it's just 5 minutes in the morning when you first wake up, set your alarm for 15 minutes early or something like that. Just have that complete silence and just have a moment to yourself.
See, listen. Just open this up so I can get ready to play that real quick. Okay, so this Sunday, on the 25th of September, Sister Sarita Valman is going to host an event. I'm just trying to pull up the flyer here. Give me 1 second. so I can do the full run on it. I literally just looked at it, but I touched the screen. It's called Chronic Pain Awareness Month Community Resource Fair. It is actually being presented by I Am Chronically Resilient. Sunday, September 25th, from 2 to 5 at the Wisconsin African American Women's Center, 3020 West Village Street. If you are looking for community resources, holistic vendors, if you are healthy food or looking to do some sponsorship, please reach out to Sarita. You can text her at 262-207-4067, or you can send an email to goalchasers2020@gmail.com. That's goal, GOAL, chasers, CHASS and Sam, ERS as in Sam, 2020@gmail.com. Sis, I want to thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for your love and your support. You know what I'm saying? And for your care of the community. You know what I mean? It takes a lot to be able to take your journey, your pain, and use that as a catalyst to want to make other people lives less stressful, less trying. You know what I'm saying? For people to not have to change the narrative for others is the best way to put that. And I thank you for your time for that. And as we get ready to close out, thank you very much. Get ready to close. I want to leave you with a song. You know, what's the name? The music people be trying to kill me, but I think this is a perfect song. I've been doing some TikTok scrolling, and I found this young lady. Her name is Mayada, and I know y'all hear her all the time now. But this song is called R.I.P. Captain Save-A-Ho, and it's Heaux. It's so dope to me. If y'all could just take time to invest in listening to the lyrics and connect with it. And until next week, y'all know how we get down. I believe my guest next week is my brother Bobby Drake is coming through. Plus, I have a really big surprise, but that's next week, and we'll talk about that then. Until then, don't forget that September is National Pain Awareness Month, and be good to your bodies. Be mindful, pay attention, be mindful of your bodies. If it's telling you something, don't ignore it. Don't ignore it. Listen closely. And it could be something that manifests from something emotional, something that manifests for something spiritual, just settle into your body in the worst of ways. And this opportunity that you are being presented with to tap into some feel good ways to change your lifelong narrative, because you don't have to live, quote unquote, in pain. Some ways to get through that. And we're here to provide you with that. Again, y'all, until next week, Monday, I holla. You all. Until next week, y'all. It's been real.